Panther Nation, what's good? Welcome back to Two Fans in the Stands. I am your favorite armchair GM, CJ.
And y'all know what it is. I am your favorite couch scout. It's Jordan Tony. Come on one time. What it is, what it ain't. CJ, what's popping?
Hey, it's all good, man. I felt like we just did this yesterday.
Hey, hey, I think you're right though. I think you're right. We
Yeah,
just did this yesterday.
hey, look, back to back lives ain't our thing, man. So it feel kind of weird getting on here 2 days in a row. But man, hey, I'm happy to be here
Facts.
today, dog. We got ourselves a good one. Got ourselves a good one.
Yes,
Got
sir.
some guests with us. So, but before I get into that, everybody, as usual, if you're new here, welcome. Everybody returning, thank you for coming back. Okay. If you would
Yes,
make sure
sir.
you hit that like button, subscribe. If you're watching us on X, make sure you follow us. You can check us out on all social media right here at Two Fans in the Stands. And on Twix, that's a mixture of Twitter and X, as we like to call it. You can check us out right here at Two Fans ITS. Okay. So, cousin, we're doing the
Yeah.
roster predictions today. All right. So we had our final preseason game yesterday versus the Bills. You know, Panthers got to win. Okay. I don't care if it's preseason or not. I'll take it. Okay. So we
Right,
got us a
right.
win. And now all the hard decisions are about to happen. So, just what's your feelings? You feel like it's gonna be a lot of wild decisions, or is it gonna be much of what everybody expected?
I think a lot of it's gonna be what people are expecting, but I think as usual, like it happens every year, there are gonna be a few players that Panther fans are, I guess you want to say, enamored with or whatever, that we
Mm-hmm.
hope don't get cut, but they probably will get cut, you know. But I try to remind people and try to get people to understand, like, this is a new regime. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people that's going to be coming in are people that either they're familiar with or that fits their scheme offensively or defensively. And
Mm-hmm.
basically we've had the same practice squad for the past 3 or 4 years. So I think you're gonna see a lot of turnover when it comes to the practice squad. But as far as the 53-man roster, hey, like Dan Morgan and Dave Canales said at their original press conference, they want to create competition. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
they did that this year. There's a lot of competition and a lot of the skill positions, except cornerback. I think that one there is still up in the air. But
Facts.
yeah, I think they got some tough decisions to make, but I think they're good tough decisions, if that makes sense.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yes,
Real quick
sir.
here, go through a few comments like we usually do. All right, Antonio, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Antonio?
And yes, like you said, like, subscribe, and share the stream, please. Gotcha. Palmetto
Already.
Money, happy Sunday to you too. Yeah, our good
Palmetto,
buddy
what's
in the
going
car,
on?
Eddie is out. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Don't get your hopes up,
Look,
Dakari.
Palmetto Money, not just yet. Not just yet. They did say that they were just keeping him on the sideline, but they said he's all right. They said he's all right. The car
Yeah.
said no, LOL, I'm just hoping. Panther Dog, what's going on? Couldn't make it yesterday, so I'm happy you did.
What's up,
Hey, we
Panther
appreciate
Dog?
you.
What's
Candy
going on,
Girl,
my
what's
guy?
going on? How you
Candy
doing?
Girl. Glad to
Yep.
see you. How you doing?
Doug, exactly. Doug is with us, okay? And we always appreciate Doug. Doug will be with us, and Doug will be in the chat. But like he said right here, make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't. Yep. Let
Yeah.
me see. Young Soldier. We're gonna get in that in a minute. We're gonna get in
Young
that in a minute.
soldier. Young soldier.
Soldier. Oh, so Lord, my bad. I'm old. Rock Jones, what's going on, man? How you
What's
doing?
going on, Rock?
What's going on? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. And we got some special guests with us today. Let me go ahead and bring everybody up. All right, as you can see on the screen here, we have our third cousin in the stands with us. We have What's Up, Doug. Okay, from the Keep Purring podcast, we have Eric and Ben. All right, one half of everybody's favorite podcast. We got Dave from PNP. And we have Ryan Smith from the Vault. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
What's up, guys? What's
I'm
up,
good.
everyone?
Let's go on, guys. It's gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun one, man.
It,
Yeah.
it,
Oh,
it
Yes,
but it's
is.
gonna
sir.
be a
It
fun one.
is.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Go ahead, Tone.
Yes, sir. So, hey, listen, hey, we glad that you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening or this afternoon where you guys are at. It's almost midnight where I'm at. So it's I get the times mixed up. But yeah, so here we are with the 2024 roster predictions, right? So we know the final cut down has to be made by 4 p.m. Tuesday. I know there's a couple more preseason games that's being played tonight. So I'm expecting a lot of action probably later on this evening through Tuesday. But we're gonna go ahead and dip into who do we consider, who do we think is going to make the 53-man roster for the Panthers? All right. And Ryan, since you and Eric, this is your first time on the show, Ryan, we're going to start with you and then we'll go to Eric. Okay. So the first position, CJ, what we starting with? You're on mute.
You're on mute, buddy.
All right. My bad. As usual, we're going to start with the quarterbacks. Okay.
All right. All
All
right.
right. So Dave,
So
as promised, everybody's up there.
I had to
so
ask questions.
Ryan,
That's all.
we're
Yeah,
gonna give you first dibs on the quarterback situation. Give us your takes on who you think will make the roster, and then once you are finished, then everybody else will chime in.
I don't think there's much to be said here, guys. I'll be honest. Bryce Young, QB1, Andy Dalton, QB2, Plummer. Let's stick him on the practice squad for development if they think that's the direction to go there. But a simple 1-2 with Young and Dalton, and that's all she wrote.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to chime in?
I agree with Ryan. However, that third preseason game scares me a bit because he balled. Plummer had a day.
Who talking about? Talking about
Oh,
Plummer had a
Plummer.
Plumber.
day. So
He
like,
did.
and on P&P we discuss when you get down to the final 53, you have to make decisions. Sometimes not about whether or not it's the best player or not. Like he's a perfect practice squad stash. It makes no sense to take three quarterbacks into your 53-man roster because you have that emergency
Right.
third quarterback situation you can do. So in a best case scenario, that's what we want. We want him in the practice squad, but it scares me a bit. But we got to wait and see with all the preseason games once they're over. Make sure there's no crazy injuries that happen.
But
But
what scares you? What scares you? That's what I want to know.
if he
What
doesn't
scares you?
clear, I
Mm,
want
Oh,
him to come back.
okay.
gotcha.
So he got
Yeah.
because
Oh,
the thing about the practice squad is not it's
right.
not we cut everybody and we can pick whoever we want. They have to clear waivers first. Then they
Right.
can come back to the practice squad.
Right.
Gotcha.
So you feel like Jack Plummer is worth bringing back to the practice squad and you
Yep.
know yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
like I
I
think I think if you would have asked me before the third preseason game, I was on the you let them all out. But I think it shows to see the progression of Jack Plummer from when he first showed up to training camp to
hmm
now to what we saw in that final preseason game. That gives me faith in Canales too, because it shows that he can develop
Yeah.
football players.
Okay.
That's what
Hey,
development looks like, ladies and
he's
gentlemen.
known for that. He's known for
Yeah.
that. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, one thing while we're doing this, we also have to remember what four players are we going to protect on the practice squad. Meaning,
Mm,
one thing that Dave just said, the rule now in the NFL, you can have two quarterbacks on the roster, but then what you also can do is have that third quarterback on the practice squad and bring them up. They're not going to have to count towards a roster spot. So that is a good point that Dave brought up about the quarterbacks because at the end of the day, we're probably going to carry two on the 53-man roster, and then Jake or if it's another quarterback, they'll be able to dress during the game for emergencies only, and it's not going to count towards your 53-man roster.
Or
Okay.
towards
facts.
the 46 that dresses up. Because remember, not all
Correct.
53 players dress up. Only
Correct.
46 do. If I recall,
All right.
the numbers changed.
All right, Ben, what you got?
Um. Yeah. I mean, Doug mentioned the protections on the practice squad. I don't know. Can you have protections anymore on the practice squad? Because I thought that
Yeah.
I was kind of going back and forth with Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer a couple weeks ago, and he responded to someone's comment about that very topic about practice squad protections, and he said that you no longer can protect guys. Like basically, if you have a guy on the practice squad, anybody can come snatch them up. If
When did
they
they change that?
want to. I'm just going off of what I saw Mike Kay say
Oh,
a couple
okay.
weeks ago on
Right.
Twitter. But no, I mean, I I see where everybody's coming from. I think that I definitely agree with what Ryan said initially. I think that the Bryce and Andy are obviously on the 53. I don't, and I do get what Dave was saying about, because Plummer did look a lot better, like way better than he did the first 2 weeks.
Way better.
Um, I personally am not like super afraid that he's going to get, claimed by another team if we were to cut him. Like, I think he would just go straight to the practice squad. But I also agree with what Dave said, that like this gives me confidence in Dave Canales in his ability to
Mm.
develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Bryce,
Okay.
I'm sure, at some point. But
Yeah.
I mean, in the small sample size that we saw, man, like his footwork looked good. He was making good decisions, all that stuff. So it was encouraging.
Yeah.
I think it's important. If I can jump in here real quick, I think it's really important
Yeah,
to
Eric.
think
Go
about
ahead.
the broader picture of Plummer got a lot more action than most third quarter quarterbacks are going to get in the preseason, right? Because Dalton didn't end up playing quite as much. We didn't really play Young. We didn't have Luton until second game or whatever it was, and he didn't really play a whole lot. So as we have Dalton, who's had an injury, it as far as backup, like it's good backup to have somebody that's had so many reps, even with some of the first team wide receivers. It's an advantage that you don't typically get with a third string quarterback.
Mm.
Okay. Hey,
CJ.
and real quick before anybody else go, Steve, our good friend Steve. If everybody don't know, this is our good buddy Steve. We were
Yes,
worried
sir,
about him,
Steve.
and he was missing on us for a while, and he showed up a couple weeks ago, and we happy to have him back. And as usual, my friend, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, "Happy Sunday to everyone. Great show, guys. We appreciate you, Steve,
Appreciate you,
as
Steve.
always." Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to chime in real quick. It's not really much for me. Plummer's gonna get cut, and if he decides to come back, then hey, so you know, we'll see.
Okay. Oops. I think I did something wrong.
Yeah,
All right.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. My bad. I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, and and the only reason I feel this way is because initially, before preseason started, it was this unwanted conversations about Jack Plummer potentially replacing Bryce Young and all this. Now I know it's crazy talking. There was some people that was spreading all this and all that, but is there a chance that the Panthers can claim a veteran quarterback off of waivers and not keep Jack Plummer?
All right. I wanna tackle this one for two reasons. So to answer the
Okay,
first
go ahead,
question,
Dave.
no, I don't think we're going after another veteran quarterback to replace Plummer. Let me be clear on that right now. I haven't seen the Twitter streets about folks saying that Plummer's going to replace Young, but this is why my black quarterback theory remains. When you have a starting black quarterback, your backups need to be black too, because you wouldn't have craziness like that. That's insane to
What?
think that that's going to happen. And there's
Well, why you say
references.
that? What do you mean? What do you
Like
mean?
like I remember when the Jacksonville Jaguars had
Hmm.
Byron Leftwich as their starting quarterback, and
Right.
they weren't a fan of Byron Leftwich, but the person behind him was David Garrard. Kind of was quiet about it, and
Mm.
eventually Garrard became the starter for a period of time. And a similar thing happened recently with Lamar Jackson. A lot of folks out in Baltimore defend Lamar Jackson, but who was his backup? Robert Griffin
Huntley.
III. Then they got Huntley after that. So there's reasons for this. And just look at what happened in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson was the guy, didn't play. Flacco came in. What was the first thing they did? Got Flacco out of there. and they put somebody else in there that looked like Deshaun Watson as the backup. So you don't have to worry about that pressure on Bryce. And the same thing happened here in Carolina with Cam. I remember
I
when
was just
folks
going to say
wanted
that
DA.
Derek Anderson. Derek
I was gonna
Anderson.
get there, but I just want to give you more current examples of this theory.
But
So, but the same,
go ahead.
there were folks
Go ahead,
that
Dave.
wanted to play DA whenever Cam had a bad game. That Cam, NFL MVP Cam Newton. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why. That's why. So I think it's
Okay.
ridiculous. Bottom line, Young's the starter.
Okay.
I don't think a veteran's going to come in, and that's just what it is. Like Dalton's there as a veteran presence. I don't think we need two veterans, and that would cause more
Okay.
churn about the debate of whether or not Bryce Young is the guy. Like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah. No. I mean that makes sense. That I was trying to see where you was going when you, as far as talking about the quarterbacks, Cam and Lamar Jackson, because the one thing that separates them from Bryce Young is they are true dual threat quarterbacks. That's not Bryce's game. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So when you talk about Deshaun Watson, when you talk about Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, they are not in the same class of type quarterback, in my opinion,
Yeah,
as
no, I'm with
as a
you.
Bryce Young. Yeah.
I
So
mean, Bryce got
yeah,
Bryce can scoot. Bryce can scoot though. Bryce can scoot if he wants
yeah,
to. It's just
yeah,
not wise
yeah,
for him
yeah,
to because he's going to get smacked.
yeah,
And he can
yeah.
take the
The
hits,
reason I
but it's
brought
just
that,
get us smacked. Go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was saying the reason I brought that question up, I mentioned that because I remember in the original press conference, Dave Canales and Dan Morgan was saying that they wanted to add a veteran third quarterback. So that was the only reason I brought that up. I was like, well, maybe that is still in the equation that they do that. Is there an opportunity that they would do that since we are first on the waiver wire? But if y'all are satisfied with Plummer having a great game. I'm gonna say he had a great game yesterday, but I'm also keep in mind that he was playing against the twos and threes and what have you. And I know he has no control over who he plays. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's on the field, that's who he plays against. And he did have a great game. Um, when you look at the stats and everything like that. But
Let's
yeah,
have some more fun. What if the next?
yeah,
What if the veteran quarterback is about letting Dalton go? Remember, Dalton only got one more year on his deal.
yeah.
Like
Well, I
so
don't know.
there's so many layers to this. Like I just
Yeah.
I know he wants to develop quarterbacks, and I know the
Mhm.
fan base is kind of antsy about Bryce right now because of what happened last season. But the man's gonna be here through 2025 at a minimum, guys.
Not
So
the smart ones.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, look, man,
and
you
I think
got
it's
look, man.
I
The fans are the
I
fans are the
think his salary.
fans.
Yeah,
It's like I
I
can't.
think his salary is guaranteed to as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if
Yeah, I
we're
think
talking about bringing another veteran quarterback, I think it's going to probably be more about thinking about life after Dalton. Like, and I will give props to them for doing that because that means you're not just thinking about this year, you're thinking ahead. Because
got
Dalton, after you got the final year, you got 1 year left, so
it.
you know
Okay. So we are pretty much in agreement that the quarterback position, it is what it is. It ain't nothing gonna change.
Yeah.
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 Somebody did post a good question, or they made a comment in the chat. They were saying whether or not Jack Plummer will even clear waivers. And then somebody said
That's what I said
what
earlier.
other 31 team would claim him. So is there a
Mm.
possibility that he gets claimed or doesn't get claimed?
I don't think so. I don't
I
think
don't
he
think
gets
he's
done.
going to, but listen, I remember when the Panthers had a running back. What was his name? We drafted him too, but he got hurt. So what the Panthers was trying to do, they were trying to release him, and he clear because back then you had to clear waivers before you could put somebody on IR if it's before the season.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the Panthers tried to release him, hoping that he would survive. And guess who picked him up? The Patriots. Can't remember his name right now. Somebody might put it in the chat. Tony, I think it was Tony something. I think the running back that we drafted, and they released him thinking that nobody was going to go after him.
Mm.
The comment was it's a common rule not to do those things when the players are IR. Bill Belichick could care
Was it
less, and
was
Bill
it
picked him
Tony
up.
Mm.
Smith?
No, it was
Was it
Tony.
Tony Smith?
No, I can't remember. I'm gonna find out what it.
It wasn't Tony Smith?
Nah, and it was the year that the Patriots won the Super Bowl, so he ended up getting a ring too. Crazy enough.
Mm,
Gotcha.
I'm
okay.
gonna look it up because it's gonna bother me for the rest of the way.
All right, well, so while Dave is looking that information up for us, we're gonna hop on over to the next position at hand. And Eric, you'll get first dibs on this one, my friend. So the offensive line.
Okay.
Offensive line. So let me preface the let me say this. Do you think we're going to keep 8 or 9? And then who do you think those 8 or 9 will be? Eric.
Yeah, um, I think we'll probably take 8. I think.
Okay.
I'm looking at Icky, Lewis, Corbett, Hunt, and Moden. No surprises there.
Right.
Ricky Lee, I think, has played well. Zavala, there's been positive chat about that. We'll take Christensen, and then I think probably Andrew Rame as well. Just from a center standpoint, I thought he played relatively well. And there was good chatter about him afterwards. Uh, I don't know, but I can also see taking an extra one if we need to, just from an insurance perspective as well. But that's what I'm going with initially.
All right, it's the
So,
guy's name. Soon we're talking about the guy's name was Tyler Gaffney. He was drafted out of Stanford. We
oh
drafted him in
yeah,
20.
Tyler
We
Yeah,
Gaffney,
drafted we
that's
drafted
right.
him in
big guy.
24. We drafted him in 2014.
Yeah.
He ended up he got hurt. He got hurt during FanFest, if I remember correctly. He got hurt during FanFest. They wanted to gun him through
Right.
waivers, put him in IR, and then the Patriots picked him up, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl that year in 2014. So he ended up getting the ring when it was all said and
Got you.
done. All right, so I'm done.
Okay. I appreciate that, Dave. Hey, Eric, but outside of the 5 starters, who would be the 3 or 4 that you would select?
Yeah, I'm going to take. I'm going with Ricky Lee. I'm going with Zavala. I'm going with Christensen. And then if we end up taking a ninth one, I think it's going to be Andrew Rame. I wouldn't be upset if we took that or if we took him.
Okay.
Okay.
So no possibility of Yash Nyman? Cause he
I
just
don't,
he just got off he just got off the pup list, just got his helmet.
yeah.
So we know we got 2 weeks before the regular season starts. So he has the opportunity to get in game shape and be ready to play that swing tackle position. No?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I think it's going to be come between him and kind of taking Rame, and so I don't know. You guys probably know the ins and outs of it a little bit better than I do, based off of kind of what
Okay.
I've seen. Not being like a super X's and O's guy. I'm going to go for more on the conservative side when it comes to the offensive line and take whoever we feel like is necessary to protect Bryce as much as possible. I think for me, part of that has to do with where Christensen ends up. If we have to plug him in somewhere, is there another hole that we need to fill that we don't have as much flexibility in?
Okay.
Okay. All right, Dave, on you, man. What you got?
Christensen safe. Zavala is safe.
Hmm.
Ninjaman safe.
What's his name, Dave?
Ninesman. I can't. Yo, man, I'm terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, Josh. How about that?
yeah, yeah,
And
Don't worry, Dave. We bad too, buddy.
I'm terrible,
yeah.
bro. Like I wanna like I'm assuming Maze is probably gonna get IR, so or maybe on the pup,
Mm,
Mm,
but because
mm,
he's hurt right now, right? He's hurt if I
yeah.
recall.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, Maze would be the last one, but I'm gonna give the last slot to Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else want? Go ahead, Doug.
I already know Dave is gonna probably never talk to me. Me and him had this conversation when we were at joint practice. As much as I love my Aggies, Ricky Lee needs to be on the practice squad. He does not need to make it on the 53-man roster. I will put Yash Nyman before him, and then Christensen, Zavala, and then I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna go with Anderson. Anderson's really, with him coming in for the playbook day, he's
Jack.
able to adapt, for him to actually understand. Um, he showed more than some of these players that are reserves. I know a lot of people want Chandler Zavala to be cut. I've been saying Chandler Zavala is like a different player than he did underneath James Campen and underneath a different scheme. Whenever Damon Lewis has not been able to play, Chandler Zavala has done a pretty good job, better than average. But
Right.
and then I'll put a wild card out there. Andrew Ram will probably make the 53-man roster just in case if something does happen with it.
Wow.
it's interesting. Like I know we went back and forth with this at training camp, but man, I could see the lead not making the team. I can. I can legitimately see it because I think when you bring Yash in, that makes that a
Yeah,
legitimate threat that he might not
yeah,
make the roster, and he could definitely potentially clear waivers. His camp has been up and down. He's had moments, but game time during games it was. He actually had a decent game from a PFF standpoint, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Like you don't bring these players in thinking that you're going to be safe. So
Like I said,
right.
Go ahead, Ben.
Tony, it was hard for me to say that even though I love my Aggies, I'm like, I just don't see Ricky Leaders making the roster, man.
it's a numbers game,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
New regime,
True.
Yeah.
numbers game. That's what it ultimately boils down to for me.
Yeah. Hey,
Go
go ahead,
ahead, Ben.
Ben.
Okay. Yeah, I have 9 guys making it, and I feel pretty confident about these 9. I wouldn't
Okay.
go so far as to say they're all locks, but I think most of them are. Obviously, the top 5 guys there, but then I think Nijman, however the hell you say it, I think he's a
I'm not
lock.
alone. I'm not
Yeah,
alone.
he's a lock. Zavala, even though I was very worried about him going into this training camp. He's done some good things. Dave Canales has shouted him out specifically in his last couple of press
Right.
conferences, so it tells me that he's probably making the team. And then you have who else? Jack Anderson too. I think that was Doug that mentioned him. He came in. We literally signed him, and 2 days after we signed him, he played in the 2 preseason game, and he was fantastic. And then they
Right.
immediately signed him to a 1-year deal worth like 1.05 million or something like that. So
Hmm.
I've got Corbett, Anderson, Christensen, Hunt, Lewis, Zavala, Iquanu, and Moten, and then Nijman. However you say it.
Nijman.
Yeah, it's not. It's Nyman. It's Nyman. Yash Nyman.
Nijman. Those are my
Yeah.
9. Those are my 9.
All right, Ryan. Who you got?
So I'm mostly with Ben here. My only question is, um, what is the? I've got 9 too, but I could easily see. Well, here's my question for everybody: Who is playing backup center right now on the depth chart? If Corbett were to go down week 1, who is our starting center? That's my question because I
According
can
to the depth
see.
chart, is Christensen.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I
So
was gonna say. I think it's Christensen, and so for that reason, I think I've got 9 as well. And Andrew Rain would be practice squad material, though. Someone said it earlier. I could see him making the 53 if they really want to put him as the backup center because he is a drafted center, or undrafted center, I should say, but played the position in college, whereas Christensen doesn't have much history there. So,
Right.
but assuming he does go to the practice squad, I also have Iquano, Lewis, Corbett, Hunt, Moten, Christensen, Zabala, Nyman, and Anderson.
Okay. Eric, did you go
Not,
already, Eric?
yeah, I went. I
yeah.
was the first one.
Okay. All
Mm-hmm.
I was
right.
about to say,
CJ,
damn,
what
I
you
just
got?
felt like the teacher called on me and I wasn't paying attention in the back of class or something. I
Don't worry,
started
man.
sweating a little bit real quick.
Don't worry, man. I do it all the time. Don't feel bad. I was on somebody else's show last week and I forgot the closing quote. So yeah.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if y'all saw the deer in headlights look on
Oh,
my
I
face,
did.
but
I
yeah,
saw
okay,
it.
because
I
I
saw it.
okay.
absolutely did.
I'm gonna own it because I was like,
God.
shoot, did I totally space?
So,
Yeah. All right. CJ, what you got?
for me, Icky, Lewis, Corbett, Hunt, Moulton, Christensen, he can play guard, potentially tackle too, and he was taking reps at center. Um, I think they keep Nyman because he was supposed to come in and be that swing tackle for us. They brought him in the off
Hmm.
season. I'm also going to say Andrew Rand makes it, and it's a toss up between Zavala and Anderson. Either which one of them that gets picked, I'm not going to be upset. If they keep Zavala, they keep Anderson. I think it could go either way with them. Like I said, I know Anderson's only been here, like a game or two, but I like what I saw from him. So those would be my
Right.
9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me get mine real quick, and then ask you guys a question. So of course I'll go with the starting five, of course. Josh Nyman, I wasn't at training camp, training camp this year. CJ was, but all the reports that I've heard about Chandler Zavala has been pretty good, if not great. I watched his play last night against the Bills. He looked like the Chandler Zavala that I saw highlights of when he came out of NC State. So if he can get his confidence back and get back on that level, I think that'd be good for him. Brady Christensen, I think they need to find one or two positions for Brady Christensen to concentrate on instead of trying to swing up and down the line. I think because for any player, doesn't matter what position, repetition matters. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to develop that muscle memory, you know, whether if you playing left tackle or left guard, at least you on the left side, not swinging from left tackle to right guard and then playing right tackle. That's completely opposite. So yeah, I go with Nyman, Zavala, Christensen, and I'm gonna just not necessarily that I will choose him, but I was kind of surprised nobody mentioned this guy, Ike Bodiger, down at the bottom left, came from the Indianapolis Colts. Ike Bodiger played pretty good in Indianapolis on that line. I believe it was Jonathan Taylor's rookie season. And I forgot the all pro guard, left guard that Indianapolis has, because Ike Bodiger played right guard, if I'm not mistaken. But how do you guys feel about Ike Bodiger? Then I have one more question too. But how you guys feel about Ike? Oh,
Nah.
I
nobody
didn't
feel
even know
that.
he was on the roster until just now. I'm gonna be honest with you.
All I'm gonna say is who?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Who?
Okay, that did not work out how I planned. But all right, cool.
I'm sorry, man.
Hey, hey, nothing. Hey, no problem, no problem. But I do have this question. And y'all, if y'all have watched any of the lives that we've been doing all off season, during training camp, whatever, I have harped on this every opportunity I can. And we want to talk, I want to talk about and find out you guys' thoughts on the center position and Austin Corbett being the starting center. Now, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna give my little spiel, then I give it over to you guys. My only concern about Austin Corbett playing center was simply the fact that he was coming off two knee injuries. I know he didn't play center at all in the NFL. He played the preseason 1 year with the Rams. I think that was like 2019. But other than that, he's never played center in a regular season game in the NFL or college. He was a 3 year starter at left tackle in college. Now you have the backup center on the depth chart, Brady Christensen. Same thing, has never played center in a regular season game in the NFL, and he was a 3 year starter at left tackle at BYU. So my thing was, if you want to get the best out of Bryce Young, and you want to see that he's able to step up in the pocket and either he gonna deliver the ball and have a lane that he can run through or whatnot. You don't want to see the center of that line collapse. And because we have never seen either one of these guys play that position, how confident are y'all in Austin Corbett and Brady Christensen being number one, number two on the depth chart? Anybody can chime in.
I don't have an if the coaching staff has enough faith in Grady Christian playing the center position, I don't have a problem with it. Like I don't think I'm not going to have an issue with it. I mean, because I think optimally, I think the best case scenario is to have Cade Mays at the backup because Cade Mays could play all five positions, right? But right now, if
Facts.
he's hurt, we ain't got a luxury. So you know, I don't have an issue with it
I'll
by
go.
yet
It
at
makes me
least.
a little bit nervous. I mean, I like Austin Corbett as a player, and I think he's smart. I think he's a good communicator, which you need to be at the center position. I was in the camp of like I was pretty disappointed that we didn't draft a center when we had the opportunity to. We I'm happy with Jonathan Brooks. I can't wait to see him on the field. I'm not saying that was a bad pick, but we had opportunities to get guys like Zach Frazier or what's the dude from Georgia, Van Pran,
Mm-hmm.
um, Jackson Powers Johnson. Like we had opportunities to get guys like that, and we decided not to. So now, in saying that, the coaches obviously have confidence in Corbett, so I'm rolling with it. Obviously, we have to. But
Right.
I can't lie. I can't lie. Like I'm a little nervous about not only his injury history the last couple of years, but also just his lack of experience playing the position. But I do think that he's a great player on his own, and I think in between, Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis, that trio could be pretty nasty if they can all stay healthy. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Okay. All right. Doug, what you got? What you got?
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I think one thing like you guys already know, I've always said about the whole thing about the center position. I was able to see Austin Corbett. He didn't play yesterday. Rhyme did look good with the ones, even though people say, we didn't go against the Bill starters. That's he that that's preference. I really feel like, but for him being a rookie, going along with the ones out there protecting Bryce, that really means that the coaching staff really trusts in him to actually possibly make this roster, even if that's practice squad or again that's on the 53-man roster. Um, like I said with Chandler Zavala, Christensen, I think Zavala again. I think coaching and scheme means something. One thing
Right.
that I think with Frank Wright, who was Chandler Zavala's coach, his playing style and scheme just didn't fit his strength. One thing that I know we're talking about 53-man roster, but I really haven't heard Panther Nation really criticize and ridicule Ike Ikwanu. One thing that I tell everybody, Icky looked good. If you go back, I mean, there's not all 22 out from yesterday, but when you look at it, our offensive line gave him time. A lot of people said when Bryce Young gets time, he looks like a different quarterback. Icky Ikwanu,
Mm-hmm.
as much pressures as he gave up when he was able to play, what he was able to do. That's no slider Ricky Lee. That's one thing I saw.
Right.
As soon as he was there, it's plenty of pressures being given up. But with Yash Nyman being healthy, that's the good thing about it now because he is a veteran. He has starts. Ricky Lee hasn't really started in a regular season game. I'll say that. So like I said, for me, you have to look at versatility. That's the biggest word with us all talking right now. Who can bring the most versatility if somebody goes down? Can they play two positions on this line?
Okay. All right. Ron, what you got?
I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. I think Corbett is a serviceable option at center. We have to kind of what Ben said. We kind of have to trust. We have to roll with it. We got to. And then Christensen, I feel like whether it's him or whether it's Andrew Rain, whoever it is, the backup, I am a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, but at the end of the day, we have to roll with it. And there are definitely worse options than Corbett. He has experience on the line. I realize center is a different position, obviously, than guard or tackle, but he's a good player, and we've got to roll with
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Eric? No.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I was going to echo kind of what Ben did, so I didn't want to jump in and just say the exact same thing. But I think it's important to recommend or recognize we did intentionally not draft one of the top couple centers in the draft when we had the opportunity. So that's
Right.
telling me that Canales, Dan Morgan, like they believe that we already have the puzzle pieces already there. Because if not, that is one of the first things that they would want to fix.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I mean, I can see that avenue as well. I guess for me, my only thing is this is um Austin Corbett's last year on his contract, right? We pay him 9 million per year. So even if you draft it. a center, whether it was the first, second, third, or fourth round. There were still legitimate, good quality type centers that we could have drafted. And even if he didn't start this year, you got him for next year. He's still on his rookie deal. So now Corbett, this is like I said, this is the last year of his contract. So when you talking about saving money, as far as the cap, the salary cap, that's 9 million off the books, and now you got a rookie that's still on his deal that's making a whole hell of a lot less than what Austin Corbett is making this year. Then you still have the potential to have him for the next 4 or 5 years, or even further. So that was my only thing about it, besides the injuries. Now, if it wasn't for the injuries, I wouldn't even be having these conversations. You know what I'm saying? But the injury, more than anything, scares me with Austin Corbett. Torn ACL, came back. To me, I think they kind of rushed him. He played 5 games, looked the shell of himself. Then he sprains his MCL. They shut him down for the remaining 5 games of the season. So now you coming back from that sprained MCL. Now they say, "Oh, Austin Cole, we need you to go from right guard to center." So all that to me played a part in that equation. All right. So anybody else got anything else on the offensive line?
I'm Gucci. I'm Gucci right now. I'm Gucci.
All right. Well, Dave, you're up next. So CJ, what's our next position?
Wide receivers.
Wide receiver.
Ooh, of course I
Just
gotta be
just
first
the
here,
right,
huh?
just the right man. Just the right man. Go ahead. Go ahead, take it. I ain't even got no spill, no nothing. Go ahead, Dave. I'm a, I wish I had some popcorn. I'd be over. I'd be like,
So I will say this. Obviously, I agree with the 4 locks. I'm not gonna argue with you regarding that. 5 and 6 is gonna be a fluid situation between now and Tuesday, because
Mm-hmm.
I was having a back and forth in a chat, because they were telling me that Leggett was going to get 500 yards receiving. Me and Rashad had the discussion during the live stream yesterday as well. And
right.
and me being a fantasy guy, I questioned if it was possible with the amount of receivers that we have. And I think the only way it can be is if somebody gets moved. Brandon
Mm,
Marshall, they've been trying to move Brandon Marshall. If they don't move anybody, it's going to be Marshall and ISM, pending the injury situation with ISM. Because if the ISM injury is serious, they might not bring him back and roll with Moore or Coker. They're probably likely Moore, because Moore knows the system. I think they're going to shoot to have. I think they're going to shoot to hopefully put Coker on the practice squad. I'm concerned that he's not going to make it through.
that's a
Very
big risk.
concerned. But the thing is, all right. So and listen, we got PNP got the interview Coker, phenomenal young man. Let me be clear when I say that. I'm legitimately concerned. And that's why earlier before the training camp, I was saying that if you're gonna Coker's got to get on the 53, because you're talking about development long term. You kind of got to make a move like that,
Right.
because I don't think Marshall's part of the long term plans. I could see Coker being part of the long term plans, and those type of decisions become a factor. That's what makes it so hard, because there was talk that they might only keep 5. And I mean, there's no way Coker's gonna make it then.
Ooh.
So it's
Only 5.
only 5. Well, and so the last year when the Bucks and I me and Rashad and it could change. It's based on rosters, right? But last year the Bucks
Right.
only kept 5
Mm,
when he was the OC.
Mm.
So that's a possibility. There could be a possibility where they move Marshall, and then they decide between ISM and Moore, and that'll be it. They're not gonna
Oh,
keep
and
both.
I'm sorry, Dave. And also on the screen there, that little double arrow next to Marshall is it's kind of an indicator that he might be traded. So that
Yeah.
if anybody's wondering,
Yeah,
that's what that is for.
I mean, best case scenario for me, you trade Marshall, he goes. You pick between ISM and Moore, and Coker makes the 53. That's the best case scenario for me. I don't think you keep both ISM and Moore. I
so
don't see a scenario where that happens, but
yeah. So you
you know,
took. So you saying 6 or 7?
No, it's not gonna be more than
6.
6.
Okay.
So you got the 4 locks.
Right.
I'm gonna assume that we're gonna move Marshall.
Okay.
All right. So in that case, I'm gonna move Marshall. If the injury is not that serious for ISM is 5. If it is, then it's more, and then Coker can get on the 53.
Mm.
Otherwise,
Okay.
if we don't trade Marshall, then it's gonna have to be Marshall, and then it's gonna be between ISM and Moore based on the injury situation. I think if ISM did not get hurt, it would be ISM, but then you got the factor in with the Moore situation. So this position is so fluid right now because of everything else that's going on. It's just because and the thing about, and I know that if the Panthers can get Marshall traded, they're going to, because you requested a trade last year. Folks got to remember that. Folks forget it. Folks forgot about that piece. So I don't see a scenario where they keep 7. I don't.
Okay. All right, Ben, what you got?
All right, yeah. This is the one I was excited to talk about.
I
I,
see you over there chomping at the bit.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Okay, so man, it's just a whirlwind right now. There was up till about 2 weeks ago, I was campaigning saying ISM was an absolute lock, and part of that was because he's our best punt returner on the team. Like, he has that ability. He can turn any punt into a touchdown. We saw him do it last year. I've been a proponent of, like, I don't think he gets enough looks. I don't think he gets enough opportunities downfield as a receiver. They use him a lot in the jet sweeps and the screens and, the gadgety type stuff. And obviously they know more than than we do as fans. I'm just going off of what I've
Right.
seen. Man, me and Eric talked about this on our podcast. Like, y'all remember ISM's highlights with the Chiefs last year? Like, he was impressive,
Yeah.
man. He was like the preseason MVP. I know it's preseason,
Right.
but ISM got some talent, and I would love to see him get more of an opportunity. Now, with his injury, the little cross you got there next to his name, have we heard anything else about that at this point? I don't think we have gotten any reports on, what the prognosis is on that, have we? It was an ankle injury
Yeah,
yesterday.
that's all.
Yeah.
It's an ankle.
Yeah, that's all we've gotten so far. That's an ankle injury.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that makes me kind of question his ability to make the 53 at this point. And then, Steve Smith was talking about on the broadcast about David Moore being his wide receiver 5. I feel like David Moore is a lock at this point. I think you could say the past relationship with Canales is part of that. I think that's why he was brought here, but I don't think that alone guaranteed David Moore a spot on the 53. I think the rapport that he's shown with Bryce in camp and in the preseason with the other quarterbacks when he's gotten opportunities, and just, you heard Dave Canales talk about him, like, he's just reliable, except for the touchdown that he dropped Saturday. He's pretty reliable.
The one that Coker did not drop.
Right, exactly.
That's why I'm afraid he ain't gonna clear, guys. I think if he didn't get that touchdown, I was feeling comfortable about him potentially clearing. But now I'm worried because he can run the routes. He knows the tree. The kid's good, man. I watch FCS football more than I watch FBS football. The kid's good. He's legit. He is legit.
Yeah. Coker.
Somebody might pull him. I'm very concerned about that.
100%. Coker is.
I ain't gonna.
So
yeah. Okay. No, go ahead, man. I apologize.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just saying, Coker. Yeah, we talk. Eric and I have been talking about him too. Like, he, first of all, and I know this doesn't necessarily mean anything in the long run, but it stuck out to me that I know he wasn't drafted, but they went out and they made a point to go get him as an undrafted free agent, and they gave him a contract bigger than some late round draft picks get paid. Like, they wanted Coker. And like Dave said, I highly, highly doubt he makes it through waivers if he gets cut. Like, he's not making it to the practice squad because he's young. He's younger than TMJ. He can do all the same things that TMJ can do, and he's probably a better route runner than TMJ. And he, at the combine, he can jump out of the building too. He had the highest recorded vertical at the combine for wide receivers this year, which didn't get talked about a lot.
I didn't know that.
So he's a good athlete. He's not a burner. He's not going to outrun every defensive back, but
Right.
he's so crafty. He's good at running his routes and setting guys up, like we saw in the preseason game. So I think, like right now, aside from the top 4 guys there,
Yeah.
currently, I would put unless God, this is so freaking hard.
That's what I said
Uh,
too. That's why I did. That's why I gave you like 5 different equations.
TMJ, there. I think Joseph Person, in his most recent article today, reported that some NFL official that he interviewed said that the Panthers are currently shopping
Yep.
TMJ.
Yeah.
So unless
Hey,
if he doesn't get traded, I feel like TMJ probably initially makes the 53, but then they continue trying to offload him because I
Gotcha.
think Coker is in their future plans. I really do.
Ben, let's do this. I didn't want to do this with Day because I wanted to put the pressure on him. Let's just assume that TMJ is traded. Let's just
Yeah.
assume TMJ is traded. Now, who would be your other 2 or 3 besides the locks?
If TMJ gets traded, it's Johnson, Thielen, Mingo, Leggett, Moore, and Coker. And then ISM might go to the practice squad because now this could change if he gets his injury prognosis comes back different. But I just
Mm,
think based on the opportunities that we've been seeing guys get in the preseason, they're ISM's not getting a ton of opportunities downfield. Like Coker and Moore are the guys getting more of those reps. So I don't know. I think it would be the top 4 and then Moore and Coker for me if TMJ were to get traded. But then that leaves you with the question of if ISM's not on the roster, who do we have at punt returner? Is it going to be like Jameson, or are they going to throw Leggett back there or something?
I
Hey,
mean,
Like,
Jameson
now,
can. I mean, Jameson did do it at Texas.
mm,
well, hold on. Jameson, Moore,
More.
ISM all took reps in during training camp at punt return.
yeah,
And
Okay.
during the Buffalo game yesterday, Jameson did I think he took a kickoff, if I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah. He ran a good
He
kickoff
did
back.
take one kickoff. Yeah. Hey, and Tony,
Yeah.
real quick, Eric's got to go here in a minute. So I say we go ahead and let
Okay.
him give his lineup next.
Okay. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I have a fantasy draft for my son that I get to do every year. So
Oh,
sorry I have
don't
to
worry
bounce
about it.
for it, but it is for a good reason.
Oh, no, you all
Yeah.
good.
I mean, we talked, CJ, when you were on our show a couple weeks ago, we talked about this exact subject, and it was who was going to be making it. I said at the time that I think it's going to be Coker and ISM, but that was before Moore kind of started showing out a little bit more. So no pun intended. But I do think that the great problem is they made it really hard on us to make this decision because Marshall, ISM, Moore, Coker all played really well. They all had good catches. So if we end up taking 6, then I'm going with Moore and Coker as well, and then I don't know, maybe we can do some trickeration with ISM in terms of designations or something like that in order to keep him around. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, cool.
Okay. We definitely appreciate you being on the show, man. We definitely hope to see you again. You're welcome
Yeah,
back
absolutely.
anytime, man.
Thanks
All
so much for
right.
having us. I really, really appreciate it, and we will catch you guys on the next one for sure.
see you, buddy.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good
Ben,
one.
Appreciate
you
y'all.
leaving or you staying?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All right, Doug, go ahead. It's on you.
Um, like I said, I already know these next 2 people are not gonna like my takes because I'm not I'm not gonna be favorites. I'm not gonna say, oh, we need this particular person for special teams. What can you do for me as your main position group? ISM. One thing Ben said, I mean, when he was able to display it when he was at Kansas City, he was a leading wide receiver at Kansas City during preseason. He has not been able to display that here currently at Carolina due to him being at the lower of the tolling pole for our wide receivers. But again, there must be someone that I'm surprised out of some of these gentlemen that we were all together that we can't put our heads to figure out which wide receivers took in over TMJ after what we saw against the joint practice. I'm totally shocked after what transpired at the joint practice to now. that he's on a trading block. I did hear earlier in the season that, hey, they're going to showcase TMJ as much as they can and get him out of here. For me, like I said, the top 4 are untouchable. That's just me. They're untouchable. They're not going anywhere. Jalen Coker, I think if you put him out there on waivers, one thing that Dave said is, just like with Jack Plummer, there's no way Jalen Coker is going to clear waivers. I would be totally shocked if they even risk it biscuit where they put him out there and somebody does not grab him.
I'll be honest,
So,
man. I think it's more likely that David Moore would clear waivers than Coker.
correct.
Yeah. Yes,
Correct.
definitely.
So they
Good
playing
point.
chess.
Good point.
So now they playing chess.
So
About damn
I
time.
agree. I mean, I totally agree because again, so that's 4. So I'm putting Jalen Coker there. ISM, I was telling Tony and CJ, depending on how severe the injury is, put him on the pup list. Put him on the pup list. And then once everything happens, you don't let TMJ go just walk. Again, if you want value, and one thing that Dan Morgan wants, he wants value for players. As what I don't think I've ever made a statement on Two Fans. We basically got 2 starters for a 7th-round pick. You got a starting corner and you got a starting wide receiver for a 7th-round pick. When we look at the trade that we did with Dante Jackson, we literally got 2 starters on this team now with a corner and a wide receiver. And I do think Dan Morgan's going to try to get some type of value with it. And like I said, I'll take the top 2. I will take TMJ right now unless he's traded, ISM on the pup, and then I'm tailing Jalen Coker.
Hey, now
So
Doug, now
7.
with you saying the ISM on the pup. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I said this the other day, but I was gonna make sure I'm right. And if somebody goes on the pup, they have to make the 53-man roster initially, right? And then they have to be placed on the pup list.
Same thing with IR. I think
Okay.
there's a rule now where you can IR a limited amount of players in short-term IR and it doesn't affect your 53. But I think it's on like 2 or 3 players, maybe 4 at the most. So
Okay.
you could probably
Okay,
pick
cool.
4 but now remember short-term IR, which means that means they got to be out for a period of time.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
got to and I think
At
we've
least a
had more than
minimum
enough,
4 games, right?
at least 4
I
games.
think it's a
And
minimum, 4 games.
minimum 4 games. And the thing is, you have a limit of how many times you can do this, and we have a lot of injuries on this team right now. We got a few folks where I already know that could definitely fit the bill in different positions. So
Right.
Okay. Back.
Right. Ryan, what you got? Have you went yet, Ryan?
I have not. I've been listening and just soaking this all in. Like Ben, I'm very excited to talk about this position. Okay. If anyone's listened to my podcast, Inside the Vault, you know I am a big Terrace Marshall Jr. fan. And that is
Right.
coming from a
Right.
Florida Gator fan, even though he went to LSU. Anyway, that joke aside. So I like Terrace Marshall. He was with Bryce Young when they went out to California earlier in the offseason. There's a reason he was with them. They have a good rapport going. Now, that being said, business is business. They got to do what they got to do. I believe the shopping of Marshall is true. However, like someone just said, Dan is not just going to give him away. They will trade him only if they have the value. Otherwise, I think they like him and they will keep him. If the value is not there, and the position that we get back does not match, what's good for both sides. So I would say if we're just discussing my roster prediction here, the top 4 locks, obviously they're there. Marshall 5, Moore 6, Coker. That's my biggest concern is Coker. I almost swapped him for Moore. Yeah, I actually no. I will swap Coker. Coker and Marshall would be my 2. Smith-Marset would be either on the practice squad or, like someone said, short-term IR pup. And then Moore gets cut simply because he served his time as kind of like the guy who was brought in to help learn the system. But we know what he is at this point. At the end of the day, I think Coker and Marshall have bigger upside than David Moore. And I've been someone, I think, who has been on record. Let's be honest. Unless you can get the value you want back for a guy like Terrace Marshall, I think everyone's in agreement here. If he can actually show what he can do during the regular season and not just in the preseason, and bring that wide receiver 5, wide receiver 4 potential, I think everybody would take that. That's another weapon for Bryce that keeps defenses honest. And he's a big frame guy. His routes are not the best, but I think this coaching staff is giving him a chance, and I think that's all he's asked for. Because yes, he did request a trade last year, but that was a previous coaching staff. This is a new regime now. So I think they're giving him every chance to make this team, but business is business, where they will not hesitate to trade him if the value is correct and the return is worthwhile on both sides.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, CJ, what you got?
Let me see. All right. So 4 locks at the top. If Marshall is not traded, go ahead and add him. He would be number 5. All right. And then you got Smith, Marset, Moore, and Coker. And I kind of agree with everybody else. I would probably let David Moore go, and keep Coker, and maybe put ISM, on the on the pup or that short term IR, if we could. And hopefully our guy, down at the bottom, Sam Pinckney, hopefully, if he does get cut, he can clear waivers and make the practice squad. We've always been a
Right.
big supporter of him too, so we hope he can come
Yes,
back and make the
sir.
practice squad. But yeah, the top 4, Marshall if he stays, and Coker. But now if Marshall is traded, depending on ISM's injury, we could see, Coker ISM, or Coker Moore, whichever one they want to go with. But I think it would be I think it would be Coker and Smith Marset if Terrace Marshall is traded.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna give mine real quick. Of course, the 4 locks: Johnson, Thielen, Mingo, Leggett. I believe, like I'm already assuming that Terrace Marshall will be traded. So that's the case. I will go with Coker and Moore and Smith Marset. If the injury is not too bad, maybe they, like Dave was saying earlier, we could put them on short term IR. I'm of the mindset that we keep 7 wide receivers, and there's going to be another position that we take one from. Maybe the safety room, or maybe the cornerback room, or something like that. I think the wide receiver room this year is deeper than what they had in Tampa last year. So I don't, like I said, I don't know their whole reasoning for only keeping 5, especially when Chris Godwin came back last year off that ACL injury. So it's
Mm,
always 50-50 when those guys come back. But I do like the depth of this wide receiver room, and I think those guys can add added value, especially when you're talking about Smith, Marset, and David Moore. And Coker is the young gun that can, you keep him, then put him on the practice squad, and then you got time to develop him. Okay. And before we
okay.
go on um to our next slide, listen, we got 135 people watching on YouTube and only 48 likes. So if you would do us a favor, please hit that like button, subscribe, turn that post notification bell so you'll know whenever we go live and drop new content. And also over on Twitter, X, what we have formerly dubbed Twix, there's 144 people watching over there. So if you would hit that follow button, don't cost you a dime. You ain't even gotta turn on the notification. Just hit the follow button, and hey, we'll greatly appreciate you there as well. And if you want to join the conversation on some of our other lives, come over to YouTube and hit that like button and subscribe. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to our next position, and this was on you, Doug.
Come on,
All right.
Doug.
I don't know. Like CJ, I don't know if this was playing, because I seen some of the slides. I just probably didn't pay attention. I didn't know the order. But if I saw Blackshear being a lock, he would not be a lock for me. Um,
Mm.
that's number one. I'm gonna put that out
Talk
there.
about it, Doug.
I'll be devil's
Talk.
advocate. People can say, you know, me and another player got the same last name, but Mike Boone's making this roster. If he does not make this roster, I will be totally shocked. From what I've seen at training
Okay.
camp, from what I've seen at games, from him running with the ones, from Blackshear not, I mean, literally standing right beside him with the helmet in his hand and just standing, as you know how football players stand is like, I'm just waiting for my opportunity. Mike Boone has taken every opportunity that they have presented to him, and even in practice, Blackshear wasn't even returning kicks or punts where people say he's a specialist at. So there must be an underlying injury or something there that they gave Mike Boone all the opportunity in the world, even in during joint practices and whenever public was out there, that Mike Boone got more touches than Raheem Blackshear. Only thing I would say with that is, were they playing chess like Tony said? Were they playing chess and not checkers? Because they
Mm,
possibly were giving Mike Boone opportunity, but Mike Boone has been sitting on this roster for, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years on the practice squad. Um, I know Chuba, Miles are there. I know here living in Texas, they're trying to get a running back. I won't be shocked, Dan have the ear to the phone saying, "Hey, I need this compensation for Miles Sanders," but I do think Miles Sanders will still be here. But I do think it'll be Chuba, Sanders, Boone, and whenever Brooks is ready to come back from the pup list, Blackshirt possibly will be on the practice squad.
okay.
Okay, Dave, what you got? I see you was kind of chomping at the bit about that black share. Let
Yeah,
the people hear
man. I I disagree with Doug a bit. I think it's Blackshear's important from the standpoint of ISM, and I think that's the dilemma. So you kind of
it.
so if I with ISM being hurt, you kind of gotta be locked in. You're not gonna move Sanders. You're not gonna you keep the Sanders and Hubbard. You got Brooks on the pup, so you can hold off a bit. But I do agree with him regarding that Boone's making the roster, and I like Shurton, I really do. But the reality is Boone's making the roster. It's hard. I would be shocked if he does not make the roster.
So do we keep
Okay.
3 or 4?
We're keeping four, but they're gonna have
Okay.
Brooks on the pup. Like Brooks could be one of the
Right.
ones that Brooks is probably one of the ones they put on IR that can't get touched.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
Right.
Okay.
that's what Brooks is gonna be. Um, but Boone's making the team. Boone's making the roster.
All right, Ben,
Okay.
what you got?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Boone is definitely making. I've been impressed with him, man. I tweeted today. It feels like he kind of has a similar running style to Chuba. He's not dancing around in the backfield like a Miles Sanders tends to do from time to time. He's one cut, north south, and he's always going to fall forward most of the time,
Mhm.
and gain a yard or two instead of falling backwards or trying, like I said, trying to dance around. So I like Mike Boone. I definitely think he's making it, and I think it's four. I think while Brooks is still on the pup, we roll with Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear, and Boone. But then once Brooks comes back, either Boone or Blackshear um, could be on the bubble there, and I would
Be an
lean
odd man out.
Yeah, odd man out, and I would lean Blackshear being odd man out at this point because I really think that Boone is a good backup to what Hubbard does. I think they have a similar running style, and Sanders is kind of like the third down back, like change of pace guy. And then Brooks comes in, and I do think we have four. I think we roll with four running backs.
So that's actually 5. And I know we're saying again, whenever they're first the 53-man roster, we're gonna have 5 running backs. Now, once the day goes, it goes back to 4, and then the pup. So, are you saying all 5 first, Ben? Or are you saying once everything clears, it's going to be 4 until Brooks comes back?
So you're saying that when they first do the initial 53-man cut, or when they first do it, um, Brooks would count towards the 53
Yes,
initially.
yes. Initially, he
Unless unless you put him on short-term IR and he's one of the
correct,
four exceptions.
correct. No, that is
Okay.
Right.
correct. That is
Okay.
correct, Dave.
I still think they figure out a way to maneuver that and keep Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear, and Boone.
Okay.
Um, I don't know all the ins and outs of how that would work, but I
Yeah,
just feel
you
like those
that means
four
they would have to
guys.
IR him. They have to make him as one of the designated IR guys that they're not gonna that doesn't have to clear waivers. Because when you put players on IR prior to the season, they have to clear waivers before you can officially put them on IR.
Correct.
Okay.
But there's
I
a limit
wonder.
of
I
how many, and
wonder.
that's changed recently.
Yeah, if they do that, if they put Brooks on that short-term IR, because earlier, I think a couple weeks ago, they said, I think Dave Canales said that we could potentially see him back by week 4, is what they're kind of
Then
looking
that's
at.
perfect. That's
That's perfect. Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
You can put him there, but then when week 4 rolls around, or after the 4th week, then you got to make a decision. That means somebody else is
Right.
going to get cut. Another
Okay.
player, and then they have to
Okay.
be at the running back spot. But odds are it'll probably
Yep.
be a running back that's going to get cut.
Yeah.
Okay, what you got, Ryan?
I am pretty much in agreement with most of what's been said. Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear are locks for me. Boone as the fourth one. And I think C3 in the comments has already said this, but I do think that we will start Brooks out on PUP. I think he will be out at least the first 4 weeks just for them to be safe and make sure he comes right at 100%. They don't want to take any chances with him. I think we're more than capable until he comes back. So Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear, and Boone for me would be the 4 making the roster. And then when Brooks does come back, ultimately, I think someone already said it. I think Blackshear, in my opinion, would be the odd man out in that scenario.
Okay. All right, CJ, what you got?
Let me see. Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear. If they do put Brooks on that short term injured reserve, it's gonna be Boone. I know this is not gonna matter, but I'm just gonna say this anyway. I'm still upset we cut what's the man name Dylan Johnson. Yes,
Dylan Johnson.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
still mad we cut Dylan Johnson. No, it's not gonna mean
I
a
thought you
damn
were gonna
thing
say
now.
somebody
I,
else.
I just I just I just wanted to say that just let the world know. But yeah, Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear, and Boone and Brooks on the short term IR. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Get mine real quick. Hubbard, Sanders, Blackshear, pretty much what everybody else said. The only thing I would say about Brooks, and I want people to keep this in mind as well. When the Panthers say that Brooks will be ready by week 3 or week 4, I don't, in my opinion, I don't believe they're meaning he will be 100% and ready to hit the field. I think he's going to need another 3 to 4 weeks just to ramp up and get in game shape. You know what I'm saying? He's missed all OTAs, all the training camp, preseason, things like that. You just don't take him off the pup list in 4 weeks because he's eligible to come off and deem that he's ready and now he's going to hit the field. There's going to be a ramp up phase with him. That's why I believe, honestly, you won't see Brooks until after week 8 at the minimum. You will not see Jonathan Brooks on the field until at least after week 8. Now that's just my personal opinion. And just history has shown when guys have come back off IR, especially off a significant knee injury like a torn ACL or Achilles tendon or anything like that, there's a ramp up phase. You know, those guys have to be eased back into playing condition. So that's my only thing on that. Because I know a lot of Panther fans get excited when they hear that he's going to be available in 4 weeks, but I don't think it's going to be as clear cut as some people think. All right. Anybody else got anything else? All right. All right, CJ, what we got next? And this time we're gonna start back over we're gonna start with Ben. Ben, go ahead.
All right. Okay. So that guy in the middle on the top.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. He's
Talk
gone.
about it, Ben. Talk about it.
He's gone, man. It was a good run for him. Love you, Ian, but no, I don't think he's going to end up
I
making the
wish I had a
53.
pink slip in here. I'll put it out.
No, I think Trimble, Sanders, and Matthews. Matthews, man, I've been so impressed with him. Um,
Yes.
he's just been on and off the field so impressive. I have us rolling with 3 going into
Hmm.
in the initial 53. Trimble, Sanders, and Matthews. For a minute there, I was like, because I saw when they brought Hollister over, I was like, oh, maybe with the relationship there with the past relationship with Canales and Idzik in Seattle, maybe he has a chance, and he could. Like maybe they keep 4, and he's the 4th. Um, it also wouldn't shock me if Ian Thomas still made it, and we're still standing here like, what? What? We're in the twilight. Are we in the twilight zone? Like, how is he still on the team? I know he's good at blocking, but damn. So yeah, I'm going to stick with 3. I think it's Matthews, Sanders, and Trimble right now.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, what you got?
Oh, hey Tony, can I ask a question real quick?
Oh,
I'm
go
surprised
ahead,
you
Doug.
ain't being petty. Why you ain't go fast? Everybody know you hate Ian Thomas. So why you ain't start out and give us your prediction on this tight end room?
Because
Everybody on Panther
I'm,
Nation know this. So I thought you was
I'm,
gonna lead out on this because I can't wait to hear what you got to say.
sir. I'm trying to be professional. I am the host of tonight's live, so
Okay.
I figure
I'll
I
go
would
on
give
mute.
our guests
I'll
the
go on mute.
opportunity to
I'm
go
gonna go on
first.
mute. I'm gonna go
You
on
know what I
mute.
mean?
I'm gonna go on mute.
Yeah. Yes. Go
Listen,
go
man.
ahead, Ryan, sir.
I think it's all. I
Oh,
think
go
it's a
ahead, Dave.
consensus that no.
Go
I
ahead,
think
Dave.
it's a certifiable consensus that nobody wants Ian Thomas on this roster. But I'm going to tell you this, bro. He's going to be on this roster, and we're keeping 4 tight ends, and those are the 4 we're
Yeah.
keeping:
It's
Trimble,
probably right.
Thomas, Sanders, Matthews. Those are the 4.
This is
And
black.
and
This is blasphemous. I
I
know
didn't
that.
say I didn't say you
He
were.
wouldn't say that. He
I
wouldn't
didn't
say
say.
that, Dave. You hear that, right? He says that, but then I would have given him the baton, and he gonna say that's blasphemy.
Hey, all I just listen, man. Listen, nobody wants. There's ain't too many folks that want that guy off the roster more than me. But I understand he got the contract. He gonna be there, guys, and we got to keep 4 because we play a lot of 2 tight end sets.
Yeah, there you go. That's all I was gonna say. Yeah,
Go
4.
ahead,
This is
Ryan.
the 4. I'm not here for the Ian Thomas hate. I don't like him as much as the next guy, but at the end of the day, I agree with Dave. We're keeping these 4. It's pretty cut and dry.
Go ahead, Ben. Damn it. Yeah, I guess you're gonna join with everybody else. Go ahead, Ben.
What? No, I stand by what I said. Ian Thomas, get out of here. I don't think he should be
Oh,
on the
that's right. You
53.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay?
already
You
went, but
all right?
I'll go
My bad.
again. I'll go again now.
He's like, I'll say it again for y'all. Let y'all know what it
Hey,
is.
No,
listen.
it's
I done lost my train of thought, my order, man. Y'all done got me
My
hot.
bad.
Go
That's on
ahead,
me though,
man.
because I jumped the line. I'll take the heat for that one.
no, but I'll just say what Dave and Ryan's. They're probably right. I mean, they're probably right. He's probably going to make the team because the 2 tight end set thing. So yeah, he'll probably be on the team.
Go ahead, CJ.
Hey, yeah. Dave Canales wants to be stubborn and run the ball as much as he says he does.
Yeah.
Trimble and Thomas are going to be your 2 tight ends in that set. And then, you have Sanders and Matthews. And, and I think we signed Ian Thomas to was it a 1-year deal? Or was this the last year? 1-year deal.
I think so.
So
Yeah,
it
we
may
give
be,
him.
maybe a situation where we put up with him for a year and, try and develop Sanders, something like that. And it's just like, and I don't want anybody to think that we absolutely just can't stand Ian Thomas, but it's just like,
No, I
at this
can't.
point,
I
it's
cannot
just
stand
like,
Ian Thomas.
it's just like something else. We just need something else. But that's my spiel. Go ahead, Tony.
I don't want any time. I'm gonna say no. He's gonna call my name. I give all my time to Tony. So go ahead because all my time is to you. So however you want to lash out, if you want to be professional, you want to take back your statement. There's videos out there all on YouTube on different channels. Your hate on Ian Thomas. So I'm gonna give you all the time to take it back or how you personally feel about him.
Are you done? Are you done? Hey, it like you said. I stand on business. One thing about me, I don't fold. I can't stand that dude. I don't know what. Look, I ain't got nothing personal against him as a man. I'm talking about strictly the football player. He is not worth his salt. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the main reason why I feel like he has stuck around this long is because we have been so lack of talent in the tight end room in the past 5 or 6 years. Okay. In the 5 or 6 years that Ian Thomas has been with the Panthers, when we drafted him out of Indiana, he came out of Indiana as a project. 5, 6 years in, Ian Thomas is still a damn project. Okay, he's not the best blocker on the team no more. That goes to Tommy Trimmer. Tommy Trimmer is a better blocker than him, a better pass receiving tight end than him. JT Sanders, better pass receiving tight end than him. Jury's still out on how well he can block. Jordan Matthews, better pass catching tight end than Ian Thomas. Jury's still out on how well he can block. But Jacob Hollister, and I mentioned this when we first signed him, me and CJ was talking about it. I don't know if many people remember, but Jacob Hollister, not Will Disley, but Jacob Hollister was that one tight end that Seattle had that was constantly giving us the business whenever we played Seattle. He was like their second or third tight end, and he was always giving us the business. There's a reason Hollister is here because Dave Canales had him in Seattle. Saying I think with Horsted, I think Horsted was in Seattle as well. So listen, I think we have run the gauntlet with Ian Thomas. Trimble, Sanders, Matthews, and Hollister will be my four tight ends. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna go off on no tangent down a rabbit hole like Doug want me to. But yeah. And then he can go and meet with the rest of his family and join the NSA.
What? Look, I'm on my best behavior. I said I gave you time, so why you bring my name in it, sir?
Because I know you. I know you. I know exactly. I know you. That's why. That's why.
But yeah, quick and easy. Like my quick take. I mean, I agree with all these gentlemen on the panel. One thing they can out to us is tight ends. Keep four. Hopefully Ian Thomas is healthy. If he's not healthy beginning of the season, I do think there's gonna be some more backlash behind the scenes talking about Ian Thomas. But hey, I do think we keep.
Hmm. Hey, Paul Mancini, I don't usually disagree with you, but hey, even if Trimble is not that good of a blocker, he better than Ian Thomas.
Just say this, man. Just say this.
Yeah.
I hate
Well,
y'all.
what's that? What's
I
that,
do
Dave?
anything to replace y'all.
That's it. Just do that, and then you'll be done with it.
Hey, hey, I don't know if I don't know if I can say any clearer than what I have. I do not like the dude. I hope, I pray he don't make the roster. Yeah, that's my
All
story, and
right.
I'm sticking to it.
And can I just
All
say
right.
one more thing? If he does make the roster, can we please refrain from trying tight end screens behind the line of scrimmage to Ian Thomas in the
Ooh,
opposing team's red zone?
yeah,
Remember
I
that
agree.
against the
That
Lions?
yes,
I mean, obviously
I
Bryce
agree.
that's a
threw the
very good
pick,
point.
but I was just like, what is this play call? Like, what are we doing here? Straight to Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah,
Terrible play.
facts.
Terrible.
Right, right. All right. So, hey, Ryan, it's back on you. So, what's the next position we got, CJ?
Defensive line.
Defensive lineman. All right, Ryan, go ahead and kick it off for us.
All right. Good to be the first one again on the defensive side of the ball. I was hoping for corner, but that is okay. I'll get my turn there. Defensive line. Um, Derek Brown is the man. I'm glad we paid him this offseason. I just want to say that up front. Obviously, he's making the roster. Just putting that out there. I'm glad we paid him. Tuttle and Robinson obviously are there. I've really been impressed with TJ Smith. I think it's TJ. Anyway, Smith. I've been really impressed with
Yeah.
him. So I think we're going to be keeping of the. So I'll just say mine are Brown, Tuttle, Robinson, Smith, Thurman, Ray, Crumeny. I think is going to be on the practice squad. I'm hoping for that. I don't think he makes the 53 right now with his injury. I think that was just bad timing by him. So I think those six is who we are carrying. I could see them maybe trying to squeeze him on if they think someone might bring him, take him off. But he is injured, so I don't think anyone will take him. So I'm going to go with the three lock starters and then the six total: Smith, Thurman, and Ray to round up my prediction.
Okay. All right. Bet. Tony popped off for a second. So Ben, go ahead and go next, good bud.
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add. I'm pretty much right with Ryan on that. Brown, Tuttle, Robinson, TJ Smith, who's been impressive in the preseason so far. Thurman and Ray, and yeah, I think it's 6, and then like he was saying, Crumity. I guess he got hurt fairly recently. Was that in the last preseason game that he got injured?
No, he
I
got
think
Or
I
hurt
think
in
the
the
second
first
one.
one.
oh,
I
was
think
it
it
the
was
first
the
Was it
one?
the
Jets,
first one?
Jets game or the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean he's yeah, I definitely think he's practice squad material. If he clears waivers, which I would think that he would at this point. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with those top 6 there.
All right.
Okay. All right. Doug, what you got?
I need shot total gone. I'm sorry.
Whoa,
No,
whoa.
I'm not. Look, hey, I keep it a whole thing. Like I've been on this shot total. Like he has to bulk up, man. Like he's not a true. Again, it's not okay. So I've never said this. It's not his fault that he is undersized for the type of defense that we run. That's number one. And I know Davis is
Right.
probably like that, where Doug, where's this coming from? Again, for a 3-4 defense, he is not in the right position. Adding a Ashawn Robinson is going to help him, and I'm hoping he does look like a different person than he did last year. TJ Smith, this is just my opinion. I think TJ Smith should start over Tuttle. That's just me.
Mm,
I like the size that he presents, and I like his physique. Like he's basically bigger, stronger, and he's the right size for a 3-4 interior lineman. I hate LeBron Ray is going to be cut. I think Thurman is going to make the roster, and you are going to have Crumity. That's probably going to start on that short term R. Other than that, that's all I have. But Shot Tuttle will make the roster. But me personally, if I was a coach, I would put TJ Smith Jr. out there and then have Tuttle be that rotational guy.
all right, Dave, what you got, Dave?
I'm gonna be on the six defensive lineman train. I don't think I disagree with regards to that, other than the total hate that Doug is out here in these streets for. But other than that, I think I'm cool with the 6. It's kind of I think Crumity would have took a slot, but it kind of sucks that he got hurt. But because I actually low key liked that draft pick when we took it at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna roll with that 6 for now. So that
I will.
means
Okay.
Okay.
so
Nice.
here's the thing now. We've been hitting pretty much the sum numbers. So that means we're gonna have to cut. We're gonna have to cut somebody. Like something's gonna have to get slashed. So
Somewhere
one of these
else. Yep.
positions groups is gonna have to go down one if we're gonna be rolling with 6
Right.
defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What you got, CJ?
Me personally, Brown, Tuttle, Robinson, and I agree with Doug to a certain extent. I do think Shot Tuttle needs to step up this year because I do feel like towards the end of last year he kind of disappeared a little bit. I don't think he'll be cut. TJ Smith and Thurman, and LeBron Ray, he kind of disappeared to me this year in camp. I in the games didn't really see much of him. I don't know if they'll put Crumley on that short term IR, but like y'all said, it did suck that he got hurt because I do think he has potential. But I say they keep 5. It'll be Brown, Tuttle, Robinson, um, Smith, and Thurman.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I tend to agree with you on that. I think it would be Brown, Tuttle, Robinson, Smith, and Thurman. I would have loved to seen Crumity stay healthy because I would love to see him and LeBron Ray battling for that possible 6th spot. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that like Dave just mentioned, if you're talking about keeping 6, and if you're talking about possibly keeping 7 receivers, you're gonna have to make cuts at other positions. So would that come at the safety position? Will it come at the cornerback position? Because I think last year we only kept like 4 or 5 corners, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're going to see a lot of more 12 personnel this year. So you're going to need more than just 3 tight ends. So there's going to be some shifting of positions and position. There's going to be a shift in position where last year you may have kept one more than what you would possibly keep this year. All right. All right. Anybody else got anything else before we move on?
I was just going to say, as much as I agree with some of the Tuttle talk, I think we can thank our ex-contracts guy, Mr. Samir Suleiman, for his contract, and he will not be cut due to his contract.
That is a fact.
Who's
Gotcha.
that?
There's that other piece of the puzzle too.
Samir
Who's that?
Suleiman.
A
Oh,
Tuttle. He will not be cut due to
Tuttle?
his contract.
Oh,
I mean, there's another guy that a lot of folks wanted out the paint in on the offense, and that was not going to get cut because of the contract, and his name was Miles Sanders. I think folks have changed now since
Facts.
how he showed up, but
Yeah.
folks wanted him out the paint after last season, and he can't
Yeah.
get cut either because of the contract. Those are the breaks.
right,
Tell him.
right. All right. So who went?
I did.
Ryan
I went
went.
first.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Ben, you're next.
All right. What do we got here? Outside
Outside
linebacker.
linebacker.
So, Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota. He's had some really good moments in the preseason. I really like him, and he just recently followed me on TikTok, so he's definitely making the team. We have who else? Man, so Wanham, is he going to start the year off on the pup? Definitely.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
he is.
And Barno
Pretty
as
sure.
well. Man,
Yeah.
forgot Barno was even here.
I thought Barno was getting cut, but we can get in that discussion another day. I thought Barno was going to make this team anyway.
Yeah.
He might not, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to.
Yeah.
It don't matter if he was injured, healthy.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to try to preserve him, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, Dave. Go
I
ahead,
don't
Ben.
know. I don't know how many outside linebackers in a 3-4 scheme would typically make the 53-man roster. But when I did my initial 53-man prediction, I only had 4. I had Clowney, Johnson.
Well, last year they kept
Chazon.
6.
They kept 6. Okay, so
6 outside
yeah.
linebackers. They did
Mhm.
get cheap.
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
I would Clowney, Johnson, Chason, and Leota are locks for me. And then I don't know if I had to add one more. Maybe they start out with Gill or Villain, and then once Wanham is healthy, obviously he comes back and either is added to the group or replaces that last guy. But I only had 4 in my initial projection, but it's probably more likely 5.
Okay.
All right. Who's next? Oh. Go ahead, Doug.
I hate because I'm keeping it real, man. I didn't see something. DJ Johnson's not the starter. I'm just gonna put it out there.
He's not going to be the starter. I don't agree. I completely agree with you. I don't think he'll be the starter either.
One thing that I'm definitely looking forward to, if you're trading for a TMJ trade him for a starting outside linebacker, or trade him for a starting outside linebacker that can come in and compete and push Chason and DJ Johnson and Leota on the other side. Also, I do think that room may add a particular person due to the waiver wire. One thing I don't think any of us have even said, we have number 1 dibs on the waiver wire. So some of these spots are going to be, hey, you're here, then you're cut because somebody else got released on another team. So right now, I would say Clowney. I'm going in order: Chason, Leota, DJ Johnson, and Wanham and Barno.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ryan.
That's pretty much my order there. Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota, Wanham, Barno. And then I will say, going back to the Terrace Marshall trade stuff, this is the only position that I personally think if they are going to trade Marshall, it's going to be for this particular position right here for help here. If they don't like the return that they're going to get for this particular position with Marshall, then I think they keep it. This is the one position I think Marshall gets traded for.
And can I say off of Ryan's point there, because I was actually about to bring this up, and this is a perfect segue. People have been talking a little bit on Twitter about this Ernest Jones guy with the Rams. He's a linebacker. He obviously is going to have familiarity with Evero. Evero's
He played with Evero with the Rams. Yeah.
with the Rams. Yep. And there's it says Rams have granted linebacker Ernest Jones and his agents permission to seek a trade. There's a lot of people saying we should try to trade for him. So to Ryan's point, I mean, maybe if we do trade Team J, we could package something to get somebody like that back. It'll be interesting.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna touch on that more when we get to the inside linebackers. But I'm glad you brought that up, then.
Okay.
CJ, what you got?
Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota, and I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe this is one of those positions where they keep five. You know, maybe this is one where they
Yeah,
do something different than what they did last year. Maybe
I'm
they
with
don't
you.
keep six. They keep five, and then maybe you can add a spot to another position. You know, but who that'll be if
Mm,
they kept five, Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota. And to be honest with you, I know it's kind of skipping the list here, but I like what I saw out of Derek McClendon. And I was
I
the
do
camp
too,
a lot.
man.
D-Mac.
And
I do
especially every
too.
time I sat over on general admission side, he was always the first one out. Always out, always practicing, working on his craft. And I like what I saw from him. He had a sack in the first game. I want to say he had a sack in the second game as well. So, you know, that would be kind of my my outside pick to get in would be McClendon.
I forgot about McClendon. I agree with
Yeah,
CJ. If he doesn't make the 53 man, he's definitely on the practice squad. I forgot about McClendon.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna be quick with mine, man. It's Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota, and McClendon for me with those five. If we decide to use an IR spot for Wanham, cool. I
Mm-hmm.
think Barno has to go. I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Barnum
Yep.
Experiment
experiment
has
is
ran its
over.
course.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
Barnum experiment is over. I'm
And
done
I
with it.
agree with y'all. I agree with you, Dave, 100% in that order. Clowney, Johnson, Chason, Leota, Derek McClendon, that Warner will be put on the pup list. They're not going to cut Warner, and when he come off that pup list, I think he's going to work his way back into that starting rotation. And I think this is where you will see like Derek McClendon get moved to the practice squad and get a little bit more development out of him. So yeah, that's my take on the outside linebackers as well. All right, so I think the next person is who who started shit. I don't lost focus. Who started this one?
That was me.
That was
Who
Ben.
oh
I did
Ben?
that.
All
Yeah.
right.
Don't matter, man. We all get to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
it's
you go
fine. It
first.
don't matter. It don't
I
matter.
got
Go
you.
ahead,
Go ahead.
Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
All right, we're gonna do Jewel and Thompson. Those are locks.
Mm-hmm.
I think Charles is a lock too.
It's an
Um,
easy one.
yeah, and then we'll probably do Wallace. That'll be
Hey,
it.
Mm-hmm.
FYI, Ben called Claudia and Cheryl Claudia. I saw your list.
Listen,
What?
man. Listen, all I'm
Did
gonna
I
say is this, man.
really?
Y'all, listen, man. Listen, man. I've been high on Claude. I'm going Charles since he got here. Alcorn State. Alcorn State. Y'all be hating on my
Yeah.
HBCU folks, but Alcorn
Hey,
State. He been balling, man. He been balling.
Mm-hmm.
hey,
He was the highest defensive player on PFF 1 week during the preseason.
yeah, he was. He was.
He's
Came
been
from the
balling.
Jets. Yeah, came from the Jets. And then he called Josie Jewel Joey.
Damn it! That is autocorrect. I hate this Mac. Come on,
No, don't
man.
hate
Hey,
Max. I like Max. I like
go
I don't
Max.
go
like
It's just
ahead.
this.
not good for
Go
gaming.
I don't like
It's
this
not good for
Go
program.
gaming.
ahead, Ben. Give us your list.
I definitely think Claudia Cherilus will make the team. She has looked great in training
Oh
camp so
wow.
far.
He said
Um,
she.
she,
Oh my god.
and then
Yo,
and
y'all need
then
to stop this.
Josie
Oh
Jules.
my god.
You got Josie Jules' brother Joey as well. He's looked great. No, but I think Jewel Thompson. Let's see who I got here. Cherilus, Jewel Thompson, Wallace. Those four guys, and then I guess to the thing that we brought up earlier of or that I brought up, Ernest Jones. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of enticing. Like if we were going to trade for anybody, that one's very enticing. He had what did he have? 154 tackles
He had
last year.
145 tackles last year. He led the
145.
Rams.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he's really good. But apparently somebody in the chat said he actually posted that he did not ask for a trade. So that's an interesting little
Yeah, I just saw
situation.
that.
That's what I was going to
But
bring up. There's a difference between the team saying that they can try to speak with other teams, give him that permission, and then the player
Right.
himself saying, "Hey, I want to be traded."
Right.
Marshall
Gotcha.
Right.
last year said, "I want to be traded."
Right.
He obviously didn't get traded, but he was the one that initiated that, and then the Panthers said, "Yep, you can go ahead and seek permission for that." So
Yeah.
there is a difference between the two.
Yeah. And all the other
Okay.
teams said no, thank you, because no one was interested in trading for TMJ. So I have four on my list right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What you got, Ryan?
Yeah, Jewell, Thompson, Wallace, and Cherylus.
I'm
and
done. That's it.
Yeah, those four. I would say four. And I'll be honest, being a SEC guy, I did know a lot about Trevor Wallace, but he's impressed me more than I even thought he would, being in this preseason. I think this guy named Dan Morgan might know linebackers. I think so. I think he has a history there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Doug, what you got?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Top 4.
All right.
All right. CJ?
Same. Top 4.
Okay. So I want to go back on what Ben brought up earlier because I saw the tweet because Edgar brought it out. Edgar mentioned it on Twitter, and I responded to him. I said, "Well, if we trade for Ernest Jones, who will be the odd man out? Like, at what expense do we? Who gets sacrificed for Ernest Jones? Because one, he's not coming to be a backup." And so, if you are already solidified at the linebacker position when it comes to your starter, who's the starter that you would trade or get rid of? Anybody?
Claudia.
I was
No,
going to say
no.
Chairless would be the
He,
guy that would be the odd man out.
Ernest Jones is not coming. You're not trading for Ernest Jones to be a backup. He is going to be a starter.
Yeah, but you can't have too many good players. Like let's
Yeah, you can. What are you
we
talking
can
about?
Yes,
stack
you can.
talent.
Yeah.
Nah, you got to. Because
No,
because it's a 17-game season, war of attrition.
yeah, but I hear what you're saying,
I
Ben.
hear
But
you
I'm
though,
saying
but
when you talk about when you talk about someone as productive as Ernest Jones and the talent that he brings, the level of talent that he brings, his talent level is equal to a Josie Jewell and a Shaq Thompson. It's way above Wallace or Chairless. So
Right.
we don't run a 4-3, we run a 3-4. And he's an inside linebacker. He's not an outside linebacker. So when you talk about one of those inside linebacker positions, who do you possibly think that who do you possibly believe would get traded? Me, I'm thinking it would be Shaq Thompson because you just brought in Josie Jewell. Jewell
Mm-hmm.
played for Evero in Denver. Ernest Jones played for Evero in LA. Both guys are used to the scheme. Could Shaq Thompson be the odd man out?
If they
Potentially,
do it,
yeah.
it could be. But hey,
What you say, Dave?
they say hell no.
Ryan, what you
and the
think?
thing is, I just
Oh,
got
go
I just
ahead,
got a
Dave.
message, but like I heard because Shaq Thompson be the odd man out. That's all I need to hear, and the answer is no. There's no way.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't even think personally that Carolina even entertains that trade, but it was brought up. Edgar brought it up on Twitter, and I responded back to him. He was like, you make a good point because I don't know where he will fit in based on the talent and depth that we have right now at the inside linebacker position.
Yeah, I was
What do you?
just going to say
The thing
that.
is,
Go ahead. Sorry.
let me be real fast about that. I think the big thing that's bothering me about the speculation about trading Shaq is that 30 ain't old for a linebacker, guys. And I think that's
Right.
part of I think that's part of the problem. Like we got to figure out what old means. Thomas Davis played at a high level, almost pushing 40. Like
Mm-hmm.
so, the man's 30. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Sorry, I just had to get that out.
Go ahead,
That's
Ryan.
fair. That's a fair point.
No, hey, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. All right. Doug, did you go?
Oh,
Did,
hold
oh
on,
yeah,
Ryan.
Doug,
Ryan.
yeah.
Ryan.
Oh no, no,
Ryan, go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
I was just say, I think it was already posted in the chat. Yeah, in that scenario, if we traded for Ernest Jones, I think someone said in the chat earlier. Yeah, Thompson and Jewell would split the one spot, and then I think Jones would command that other starting spot. Um, that's what I think would end up happening, and we would trade him for a pick or picks, I should say. That's what I think would end up happening in that scenario.
Yeah,
But
because sorry,
but I don't think
Ryan.
it's going to happen though. He's not coming here. But that's if hypothetically that's what would happen.
I don't think he's coming here either. But my point was, and maybe I was misheard, but I said earlier, you cannot have too many. You cannot have too much talent at a certain position. If they wanted to bring in a guy like him, the fact that Shaq Thompson and Jeweler here should not remove that as a possibility, in my opinion. Like Trevin Wallace is up and coming, obviously, but I think Deontay White in the comments, he said Ernest, and Ryan just alluded to it. Ernest would start. Thompson and Jewell would split other starting spot. Wallace for depth. Simple. Like I just think you can't have too much talent at a particular position because 17 game season. I think Dave said this earlier. Like war of attrition. Like somebody's probably going to go down at some point. So why wouldn't you want to stack talent? That's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to the next position, and this time we're going to start with Doug.
Great choice. Thank you, Big Cuz.
You know what?
You already know. Like I said, I was praying. I was like, man, I ain't win. I was like, oh, I want corners. I'm gonna say this. JC Horn. I know this is prediction. JC Horn's gonna have 6 interceptions this year if he plays 14 games. I'm putting that out there. That is my number. I know people are talking about is he worth a big contract when this man is healthy? Absolutely. One thing that I love how aggressive Dan Morgan has been. You go get a Michael Jackson that is bigger, stronger, and more of a dog mentality corner than Dan Jackson was. And Troy Hill, he was a great. One thing I will give Scott Fitter credit for him bringing him in last year. I do think that was a great fit. Troy Hill fits this defense. He knows the scheme. So those three I definitely like. I think Smith Wade being a rookie, he definitely makes it. It's going to be hard between Boodle and Jamerson for me. I would go with Jamerson because he produced more in practice and during games, and I think Robinson is a safety or he's a cornerback. That's the
They
question.
have him
You got
listed
me
as
listed
nickel
as
corner.
yeah.
Tell it, Doug.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And
He's cut.
last year the Panthers kept 6.
He's cut. He's cut.
Who's cut?
Jamie
Robinson.
Robinson's cut.
Oh yeah, he's out the paint. He's done.
So it's Horn, Jackson, Hill, Jameson, Smith, Wade, and obviously you're going to keep Dan Jackson.
Dane
Unless you do the IR on him.
But no, Dane, and I heard you say that. But I've also said this: I won't be surprised if he's cut too, Dave. I've been saying that I would not be surprised if them bringing in Michael Jackson that they cut Dane Jackson because of contract.
I think they're either gonna put him on the IR. They're gonna try to protect Dane. I think Dane played enough to warrant it.
Well, IR let him sit out for the whole year. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean they said he could be back in 6 weeks, right?
Yes.
So I think
4 more weeks.
So I think you put him on that short term IR list. You keep him, and you can still keep 6 corners after that. And then when he's ready to return, then the guy at the bottom will survive, right? Yeah. And then that's a potential way to keep Robinson on the pine, and then you get an idea, and then you make a decision when it's time to clear. And the odds of the decision is Jamie ain't gonna be on the team no more.
All right, Ryan, go ahead because I know you was chomping at the bit. You wanted to talk about the corner, so you go ahead and go next, my man.
Okay. Yeah, so JC Horn is another dog on this roster. I had former Panther defensive end Al Wallace on my podcast earlier this summer, and his bold prediction was that JC would play all 17 games and he'd be going to the Pro Bowl. So I think Horn's going to ball out this year. He's going to be a man amongst boys out there. Jackson Hill obviously is going to be on the roster. We just traded for Jackson. Jamison and Smith Wade will be there as well. And then like Dave was saying, I do agree. I think Jackson goes to short-term IR, Dane Jackson, that is. And then Robinson will stick on there for now. And then when he comes back, Robinson will get the boot.
Mm.
And that means Boodle will not be making this roster. He just has had too many inconsistencies, in my opinion. But I will say, I wouldn't rule out them bringing somebody else in. Maybe Jackson was that guy, and that probably is going to be the only thing they do. But this could be another position that they look to bring somebody else in besides Jackson as well. But I think Jackson was probably the move. But that first on the waiver wire does help if they do see any intriguing names in the cut down.
Okay, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I have. So Horn, it's pretty much the top six: Horn, Jackson Hill, Jamison, Boodle, Smith Wade. I guess Dane Jackson starts out. They said, I think it was who said that in the chat, that like they said 6 weeks that he could potentially be out, but that was like what, a week or two ago when they said that.
I think 2
So
weeks ago.
was it 2 weeks ago? So we'll see. I mean, I guess he's probably going to start the season out maybe on short-term IR, which is that's 4 weeks, right? Short-term IR.
Yeah.
So I think the top six, I just think Jamie Robinson, I don't know. I mean, I know he can play technically two different positions with like safety and like nickel corner. And he's I like after what was it, the second preseason game, I believe, like I came away from that one. I was like, man, he's headhunting. Like in that second preseason game, he was hitting some guys and he was really playing pretty well. But I just think there's too many guys in front of him at this point. And I think Ryan was saying this, that like we could see another move with waivers. That's the thing is about, this is all obviously just the initial 53, but like I do feel like there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know, a handful of guys that we pick up, that we claim off of that initial 53 man cut. And some of these guys that we're talking about are not going to end up making it, because better teams than the Panthers are going to be cutting players that could probably be starters for a team like us, but those teams don't have enough room for them. So it'll be interesting to see.
Okay. Dave, you already went, right?
I mean, I jumped in when they made when somebody hopped in, but now I just think it's gonna be trade for Michael Jackson. Horn, Hill, Jamison, Smith, Wade. I think Budo will make the team. I'm rooting for Jamie Robinson, but I just don't see it at this point. I think that experiment is over. I think you try to get him on the squad, which is likely that he'll definitely clear so he can make the squad. So yeah.
CJ, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here. So you got Horn, Jackson, Hill, Jamison. What if you keep Smith, Wade, and Robinson, and Smith Wade will become one of your backup corner spots, and then Robinson will be the backup nickel? That may be a scenario, because Smith Wade was an outside corner, but they played him at nickel in the Senior Bowl, and then they liked what they saw out of him. So
Right.
that could be a possibility,
He
because
has that
the thing,
versatility.
yeah, because I don't think Jamie's gonna make it in the safety room, and it's probably why they switched in the nickel corner. I'm not even gonna lie, I thought I was reading the typo, and I'm like, there's no way Jamie Robinson is playing nickel. And then I saw him in the game, and I was like, oh crap, he is playing nickel. I was like, okay, well, my bad. But yeah, but I don't think he's gonna make it in the safety room. I think that might be the only way he does make it. But I know somebody put a comment in the chat, if he clears, bring him back to the practice squad and coach him up.
So you think Boodle is the odd man out there in that scenario?
Yeah, I've seen enough of Boodle. I'm good on him.
He got cooked in that double move yesterday, just saying.
Didn't he?
Hey, yeah. quiet as kept, Booth and Robinson has been getting the business handed to them all preseason. So I'm gonna give my top six real quick. Horn, Jackson Hill, of course, the starters. Dane Jackson will figure into that equation when he comes back off short term IR or what have you. Um, Deshaun Jameson, because of his versatility in playing special teams in the return game, I see him making it. Um, Shaw Smith Wade, because of his versatility playing inside outside. So I would go with those five corners, Dane Jackson to the IR, and I believe that they will pick up one or two corners off waivers to complete that cornerback room.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I think we got one last position, fellas, and we're going to let go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead, kick it off. Since you're the new guest here, kick us off with the safeties.
Sure. So you mean we're not going to discuss special teams? Is that
Oh
they're
no,
not
no, we
next?
are. We got one more
Oh, okay.
slide.
No,
We got one more
oh,
Oh,
slide.
we
okay.
got special
I thought you said
teams.
last
Okay.
one. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just making sure I heard that right. Okay. So I actually have a really hard time with this one, to be quite honest. So I'm kind of upset I'm first, but that's okay. I'll do my best. I think the only way Jamie Robinson is going to make the team is going to be through corner, like we mentioned. But I know safety, we have seen in some projections he's on the safety. But for this exercise, since I'll go with the ones listed here, Woods and Fuller are obviously there. I think Woods will be back in time for the opener because I think they said his was like 2-ish weeks and it's already been like a week and a half. So I think he'll be back for the opener. Scott will make the roster. Franklin's going to go on short-term IR. They'll keep until he comes back. Richardson, I love what I saw out of him, but I think he's going to go to the practice squad, unfortunately. So I think it's going to be Woods, Fuller, Scott. And see, okay, between Cook and Ford, I mean, they brought in Ford for a reason. So, as much as I hate to say this, I think he's going to be on the roster, and I think Cook is going to get cut. No pun intended. I like Alex Cook. He and I think Avero likes him, but I really think it might be a numbers game specifically for him. As they brought in Ford, who is a starter, has been a starter in the past for the Packers, I believe, and that's where he came from. So they brought him in for a reason. So,
Okay.
so I'd say Woods, Fuller, Scott, and Ford are going to be my four, with Cook getting cut, Franklin on short-term IR, and Richardson on the practice squad.
Okay, go ahead, Ben.
I've got 5 right now. Obviously, Woods, Fuller, and Scott are at the top. Dave Canales said that we have 3 starting caliber safeties on the team, so those would be the 3. Damani Richardson has been super impressive with some of the plays that he's made. Alex Cook has been solid from what I've seen too. So I think we roll with 5 potentially, with having those 3 guys that can slot in as starters, and then having the depth with Cook and Richardson behind them. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't be shocked with what Ryan said either if Richardson went to the practice squad, but in saying that, he's one of those guys that like he's flashed a lot, and so
Sure.
if he were to get cut, I would be nervous. I would be nervous about him getting snatched up by another team. So I got 5 right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I think some
All
of
right,
y'all. I
Doug.
think some of y'all ain't gonna make
Oh,
53,
go ahead,
man. I
Dave.
think y'all are going over 53 over here in these streets. But
I mean,
Yeah.
mine's
I wanted
53.
to say 5, but I kept 4.
I'm gonna
it's
say
for
4. I'm gonna keep the same number that they kept last year. I think Woods will be back for week 1. So instead of Cook, I'm gonna take Richardson and then put Cook on practice squad. That's just me.
Okay. CJ, what you got?
I'm gonna agree with Doug. Woods, Fuller, Scott, and Richardson.
All right. Dave, you already went, right?
I didn't. But
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead,
Woods
Dave.
Fuller. I'm Woods Fuller, Scott Richardson. I mean, and hope that Cook clears to hit the squad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
I agree. I agree with you guys. Okay. So we can move on to the last slide, which is special teams. And Dave, go ahead and lead us off. You itching to talk about this one, Dave. Take us home.
I never wanted the kicker competition to end. And
Thank you.
now you're seeing
Thank you.
why I never wanted the kicker competition to end. Cause
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna tell you something, man. In a perfect world, I would like somebody to come in to take Panero's slot. But these are the three we're gonna have to roll with. Hecker and Jansen, we're not gonna have to have a discussion about that. This is all about the kicker at this point.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah, this is all about the kicker
Right.
at this point from my perspective. So for me, I would like them to bring somebody else in, but I don't know if they're going to. But they're saying they're thinking about it, so hopefully they will. I mean, maybe you call Memphis back. I never the competition shouldn't have ended because
Nope.
and you notice as soon as the competition did end, we're seeing what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
Yeah, buddy.
Exactly. Go ahead, Doug.
I got kicked off yesterday by Big Cuz because I was very passionate about Panero yesterday. And then I told him, I
I
get
thought you weren't gonna say his name no more. Did he just say his name?
I did say it's blasphemy. Then you said the word blasphemy. We've been preaching blasphemy today. We opened the Bible yesterday, and we was in the book of the Bible. And
Damn
CJ
sure
couldn't
did.
even know. CJ couldn't give the scripture and the verse correctly. So we
I
just.
sure couldn't.
Okay.
Sure couldn't.
But nah, I would say this. When the news came out, I know everybody was like, "Here we go again." Again, we have to blame the regime of Dave Gettleman. We will have our kicker of the future if we still had Harrison Butler here. I think everybody knows that. I think everybody feels that. We did it again where it was Harrison Butler and versus Graham Gano. And what ended up
Mm-hmm.
happening?
Yep.
We saw what happened.
Then
Like
Graham
Dave
got
Yep.
just
hurt.
said, when you have Mevis here, everybody's like, "Oh, you've been doing great," but what is it saying? Pressure bust pipes.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
right.
then the
Yep.
pipes in the house have flooded. Now what can you do? What you got to do, get a repair, and hopefully you don't have to pay a lot for it. So in between now and Monday, I would tell him to go out. If it was me, go out there and get some kids. You miss one, you're gone. That's just me personally. That's me
that
personally.
means that means he's gone, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
That
Thank
means he
you.
out of here.
Thank you.
Hey, make it easy.
Hey, you made it easier for me, but
Oh Jesus,
I
man.
definitely think we need to bring a kicker in. Definitely do. And I don't know if that's on the practice squad because again, I've never heard of it before. But if we bring one on the practice squad, I'm definitely all for it. And then
I
have a
think you
kicking
can do it.
competition.
So
Have a
freaking
whole
do it.
kicking
Mm-hmm.
competition from Tuesday all the way till Thursday. Thursday because Friday's a walkthrough. And I'm talking about a
Nah,
Thursday before game. I'm talking about Thursday before game day.
no, no. Have them kick pregame. No, stop.
Oh no, you can do that too. No, CJ, I'm not opposed to that either.
No, you can't, man. I'm just messing. My bad,
I'm not
Doug. Go
opposed
ahead.
of it. So hey,
Yeah. Go ahead, Ben. What you got?
Well, I saw C3 Panther Pickle in the chat said Canales said that Eddie is fine. So
Yeah, he did say that.
He did.
I mean, maybe he is. I was team thicker kicker. I wanted thicker kicker to end up making the roster. Eddie P. I'll never forget. He burned us. I was not a fan last year of some of his antics. Remember the Chicago game, the shrug, the shoulder shrug.
Yeah.
They put him in at the end of the game, which hey, that was on Frank Reich for not putting faith in your rookie quarterback and giving him an opportunity and trotting out Eddie P, who has a kind of a weak leg, and attempting like a 58-yard field goal, and Eddie P just shrugs and he's like, I was never going to make that. I don't know why you put me out here. And then not reporting for OTAs. He's done some things that I'm just like, man, let's just move on. Thicker kicker time. And I agree with what Dave said. Like, I wanted the kicker competition to continue, draw it out as long as possible and see who takes it. But I don't know. It seems like maybe Eddie Pinheiro is fine, so maybe this is a non-story. But I was team thicker kicker for the record.
All right, Ryan, what you got?
Well, being a Florida Gator fan, obviously I have to back Eddie P because he is a former Gator. However, having said that,
Didn't know that.
I was very familiar with Harrison Mevis because he drilled a 63-yard field goal to beat my Gators last season in
Yes,
Columbia.
it
So
did.
I am very familiar with Harrison Mevis. So I was torn on the kicker competition because I kind of said, I'm good with Eddie. I'm good if Mevis beats him out, then I'm good there because Mevis is a good kicker. But he did go undrafted for a reason. So we're gonna roll with Eddie. I think my guess is they're gonna call back Mevis to kind of be on the practice squad and maybe just kind of by the phone in case Pinero's hamstring acts up, this week. But we don't need to rehash out the whole Butker and Gano stuff from the past. That's all water under the bridge. That did happen. Obviously, we all did not like that. Now hindsight's 2020, but yeah, I think for now we're gonna ride with Eddie P. And listen, maybe Dave or somebody else can speak to this. The stats are just the stats, but he is behind Butker and Tucker in some of the stat lines with the kicks. So I
No,
mean,
no. Let me be clear, man. Panero, me and the Panero issue has nothing to do with how good of a kicker he is for the most part.
okay.
For me, it was more about the cap hit.
Oh, I
And
see. Okay.
and I think that's the discussion point, right? I know folks were devastated that we didn't get Stephon Gilmore, right? And I said on the Discord, I said this on the Discord for my Patreon folks. I said if we find out that the reason why Gilmore picked the Vikings over us was over $3 million, I'm going to be furious because that's the cap hit that's the cap savings that Panero would have if we went with another kicker.
That's
If
fair.
we would have kept
Mm,
Mevis.
That's
So
fair.
I
mm.
understand that Panero statistically has played at a high level as a kicker. But when his ass decided to hold out,
Mm-hmm.
Talk
it's a
about
different
it.
ball game at this point. It's a different ball game at this point. You can't you try to hold out with a brand new coach?
Preach, Dave.
Right.
Dave,
That's
Dave, can
fair.
I, Dave, can I say this? What did we say when we were at joint practice together? You were sitting right behind us, and they walked across. What did we all say? Why is he not over there kicking field goals?
Mm-hmm.
And then we
Yup.
looked across the field, and who
Grinning
kicking
too.
field goals?
Diva.
Comfortable.
He's a diva.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortable.
But let me
Yep.
ask you this, and I'm messing with Tony because I know I see Tony face, and I asked him this: you going for 4th and 3, or you kicking a 55-yard field goal?
Not with
Remember when
Eddie.
I asked you that, Tony?
Yeah.
And again, I know Ryan was saying, "Oh, he's behind Tucker and Bucker,"
Butker. Yeah.
but he can't get past 50 yards.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd say his range
nah,
is 55, 56 yards. I think it's past 55.
Yeah.
Now he
he
can
had
make the he can
seven.
make the
Kicks,
he can
50,
make the long range
55,
kicks, but
56.
but this once again, this is more about the holdout. He thought
Mm.
he had all the
Mm.
leverage in the world. He thought he had all the leverage in the world. And then Canal was like, all right, we'll play. We'll bring in the thicker kicker. And the thicker kicker was playing very well. And then that holdout all of a sudden kind of ended. Showed
Mm-hmm.
up, and then he realized he had to compete. And that's why and okay, if you make the decision that he won the competition, I just feel like I think you made the call too soon. You made the call too soon.
Facts.
I hear
Facts.
you.
I agree with you. I agree with you there.
I can't disagree with that.
You made the call too soon.
And
And
remember,
Panero might be fine during the season, and this might be all for naught, right? But and
Yeah.
at least they can go replace him easily if he does really start screwing the pooch. If he causes some games, I think the leash is gonna be quick with him, like quick.
Only thing I
Hey,
gotta ask, Dave,
Mm.
y'all gonna have a mark on mid street? He missed some kicks. I'll be there. If y'all have it,
I'm
I'll
not
be
marching. Nah. I ain't trying to look, man. Marching is a liability. That's why we went with shirts. All right, and the shirts
All
worked.
right.
The shirts worked.
Ben, did you give your opinion? Did you give your thought?
yeah, I did earlier, but I was
Okay.
just going to also add. The whole contract situation, the holding out, the not showing up for OTAs. I think it was, if I recall, I think Ricky Rains, our friend, said a few weeks back. He's like, when you get if you're at a job like a normal 9 to 5 job, and you have a new boss, like typically you want to make a good first impression. Well, Eddie
Right.
P did not make a good first impression. And if you remember, every single time they interviewed Dave Canales and asked about Eddie Pinheiro, he was very dismissive and like, let's move on type of thing. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'll just say that I appreciate the guys that are here. I appreciate the guys that showed up. So I
Right.
agree with Dave that like, I'm kind of confused, honestly. I'm kind of confused why they didn't let the kicker competition continue. Um,
You and me both.
but it is what it is. He could go into this season and be a damn Pro Bowler at the kicker position. We don't know,
Yeah.
but I was thicker kicker team thicker kicker.
CJ, what you got?
um, nothing. It's what it is. I
It's the
ain't.
kicker.
It's what it is. Yeah. It's
Hey,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
hey, the same for me too, man. Hey, just what everybody said about this situation. Me and CJ have had these conversations 3 or 4 times over. So, hey, like you said, it is what it is. It looks like he
It is
is.
what it
It
is.
looks like he's going to make the roster. There's nothing that we can do about it now. I do. I would hope that we will bring in another kicker, maybe put him on the practice squad, and at least create some type of competition for Eddie Pinero. Okay. But fellas, hey, I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate all you guys joining us on our live tonight for the 2024 Panthers um roster predictions. One thing I want to say first before I turn it over to CJ, for everybody that's following and watching on YouTube. Listen, we have 82 likes, but there's currently 134 people watching. If you would, hit that like button for us. Okay, subscribe, turn those post notification bells for whenever we drop new content or go live so you won't miss a thing. And for the 180 plus people watching on Twitter, hit the follow button for us on Twitter. And if you wouldn't, I mean, if you would mind, also coming over to YouTube and subscribing to the channel. All right,
Yes.
we'll greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
CJ, it's
And to
all
add
yours,
on
man.
to that, all the people that are watching, thank you. We really appreciate
Yes, thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right. So before we get up out of here, I'm going to give the floor to everybody to shout out your channels. Let us know, let the people know where they can find you. Okay. So Dave, start with you first, good buddy.
All right, man. Panther Nation Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Panther Nation Podcast or PNP Rashad and Dave. You can also just search it. You'll find us on Twitter at Panther Nation PC is the primary channel for that. I also cover HBCU sports. I'm a contributor for HBCU Nightly on Mondays. I do my own show called MD on Thursdays, which is the most chaotic show in HBCU sports. We break
All
down
right.
down things past sports. We talk about esports. We talk about topics within the culture. We'll even go outside the HBCU realm occasionally, depending. But now it's football season, so the focus is going to be there. We'll probably talk about volleyball and other sports that are going on too, because that's something that I think that's always lost in that. But we try to make the show fun. We try to do some crazy things as we go. And I got another thing coming down the pipe that I don't want to officially announce yet, but I'm gonna probably be doing more HBCU sports content. And I might have another show that involves A&T,
There you
Hampton,
go.
and Tennessee State. So check me out
Okay.
if you guys are into that. I just have fun covering things that I enjoy covering. I know the Panthers as a fan base, we've been going through some rough times, but covering the Panthers is still fun. And keep at it, guys. Keep rocking keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path with regards to that. So appreciate the invite. Just let
Appreciate
me
you,
know
my
when you
guy.
need to, and keep it rocking.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All
Appreciate it,
right.
man. Appreciate it.
Ryan, you up, buddy? Tell the good people where to find you.
Yeah, so I am on Twitter or X, however you want to say it, at sryansmith7 in my handle here. I am also co-host or no host of the Inside the Vault podcast, the Carolina Panthers podcast. You can find that on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. That's also part of the Fans First Sports Network, so you can follow Fans First and follow Keep Pounding Sports Network on Twitter. You can find those pretty easily. I also have another thing coming down the pike. As of tomorrow, recording the first episode, I'll be doing an NFL-centric podcast, not just the Panthers, but kind of a full league podcast. I'll be partnering with a former NFL tight end who's currently long retired, did not play for the Panthers, but we're partnering up to do an NFL-centric podcast. So watch out for that. I'll be putting it on the socials, recording first episode tomorrow, and probably going to be out later in the week.
All right.
Okay.
Bet.
All right.
All right. Ian, go ahead and tell the good people where to find you.
Yeah. So my buddy Eric and he was on here. If you guys hopped in late, you probably missed him, but he was on for the first hour or so. Keep Purring Carolina Panthers podcast. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Apple, all the audio platforms. You can find me on Twitter. Keep Purring Ben. We do, once the season gets going, we do a weekly episode. So after the Saints game on the 8th, we will be going live for the first time that night to talk about the Saints game. So I'm excited about that. I do not have any other projects coming up, so I have a haircut tomorrow. So excited about that. It's been a while. My hair is getting long. But no, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having us on. This was a blast. Always appreciate it, and got to get you guys back on ours sometime soon as well. So thank you again. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All
right. Now, last but not least, our third fan in the stand, Mr. C. Douglas.
You already know, like I said, third fan, big cousin, good friend of ours. CDoug over at What's Up, Doug. You guys can find me at WASSUP space DOUG. Again, if I'm not overhead two fans, I definitely have projects in the works. Things in the works. Can't wait for week one. We'll be live from the Superdome on week one. Like Tony and CJ have already said, we definitely appreciate these gentlemen coming up, the ones that did leave earlier. But it's been a great time meeting some of these gentlemen during training camp, and also, there's things to come. I see Ben shaking his head. Me and Ben, it was good to finally see him in person. And I turned around and I was like, "Oh, Ben." He was like, "What's up, Doug?" So again, like I said, you guys understand behind the scenes, we love enjoying each other's company. First time actually sitting and watching a game with Dave, even though it was a joint practice. You guys understand. We're trying to bring you guys a lot of mixture of different content going into the season. So just stay tuned. CJ, you gonna pull it up for me?
Yeah, go ahead, Doug. Go ahead, talk about it.
All right. So as you guys know, two fans and What's Up, Doug, always in partnership. We definitely have two things in common. Always like-minded. This is only night one. Night two, we'll be talking about the schedule prediction. We know that the 53-man roster will be complete on Tuesday at around 4. We're going live at 7. Our special guests are, you got Carolina Dad at 2 Growls, 1 Roar. Then we have Ricky Raines from the Boat Body Show. And we also have the other half of PMP joining us on that night again on Tuesday at 7. I know Rashad won't be there for the full show, but I definitely appreciate him pulling up as well, man. So
yeah, shout out here trying to do marathons.
I know. Look, he already told me.
He said he's gonna start at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, and he was like, and I was like, all right, I'll pull up at noon for you just to say hi during my lunch break. I got to work from home that day, so I said I'll pull up.
Boy,
I'll pull up for a half hour. I said I got you for a half hour. I ain't doing 14 hours, sir.
Look, it's a busy day. I told him that, so I just appreciate him giving us an hour whenever we do part.
Yeah, he'll give you an hour right before PMP goes on. I was like, I'll come in for a half hour during lunchtime on Tuesday, and I'll see you at 8 o'clock, sir.
But no, like I said, man, these gentlemen, like I said, all these content creators, we're trying to brand. Hopefully I'm not speaking for CJ and Tom, but we're trying to brand with as many, bring you guys different content, different aspects. And with the season being the way it is, where we think it could be kind of sort of better than the last 2 years, we're definitely going to try to think outside the box for you guys. So I definitely appreciate CJ and Tony always invite me, give me that honor of the third fan. So it's all love.
All right.
Last word.
I got nothing. It's all on you, my boy. I'm all talked out.
Hey, boy.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Listen, throat dry and everything.
I never thought I'd see the day. Okay, all right, I digress. All right, but hey, look, we thank everybody for joining us. Okay, on your way out, Please, like Tony said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to all these great folk channel on the panel with us today as well. You can find us on all social media at Two Fans in the Stands, and over on Twix. That's a mixture of Twitter and X, as we have dubbed it. You can find us at Two Fans ITS. All right. And as always, for those of y'all that watches, y'all know what I'm about to do. I like to take y'all out with 3 things. Number 1, y'all be good. Number 2, y'all be safe. And number 3, as always, Panther Nation, you see it. Keep pounding, man. We'll see you.